of the October 28th, 2021 Oakland County Board of Commission meeting to order at 6:10 p.m. And I'm going to ask the clerk to call the roll.
Commissioners Cavell. I'll come back to him. And just a reminder, commissioners, if you would please turn on your microphone when you're going to speak to make sure that I and everyone else can hear you. Thank you. Commissioner Charles is excused with notice. Gershenson? Here. Gengel?
Here.
Hoffman? Here. Jackson?
Here.
Joliet? Here. Kokendorfer?
Here.
Kowal? Here. Kuhn?
Here.
Long? Lubes?
Here.
Markham?
Here.
McGilvray?
Here.
Miller?
Here and happy to be here.
Thank you. Moss?
Here.
Oh,
Here.
sorry, I didn't hear you. Thank you. Nelson? Here. Powell?
Here.
Spiz?
Present.
Thank you. Whitebird?
Here.
Woodward?
Here.
Cavell? I didn't take it this time. Okay. Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
Quorum has been established. Today, the invocation is going to be given by the Honorable Commissioner Kristen Nelson. So I ask Commissioner Nelson to come to the front, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Nelson.
Thank you, Chairman. As we gather here this evening to serve our communities, may we use our resources wisely and well to represent all members in an equitable and inclusive manner to make decisions that promote a common good. May we recognize our responsibilities and the rights of individuals, and as trusted servants, may we seek acceptance in our efforts here today. And in gratitude and in love and in compassion and reason, let us work together for a better Oakland County. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner. It will bring us to approval of minutes of our October 13th meeting. Is there a motion? Moved by Commissioner Markham, seconded by Commissioner McGilvray. Any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the minutes as presented, say aye. 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 Opposed, say nay. Let the record reflect that the minutes are approved unanimously. This moves us on to approval of the agenda as presented. Moved by Commissioner Nelson, seconded by Commissioner Lubes. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of approval of the agenda, say aye. 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 Opposed, say nay. Let the record reflect that the agenda as presented is approved unanimously. This will bring us to communications. The first item up, we have a public hearing for the economic development for a brownfield plan for the Secura Novi City of Novi project. This is a requirement of state law. So I'm going to open the public hearing to speak on this issue specifically at 6:12. Is there anyone here to speak on the Secura Novi project? Mr. McCready, welcome. It's good to see you. If you could state your name and community and welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mike McCready, Economic Development Director for the City of Novi. Thank you for having this on your agenda tonight. We look forward to moving forward with this project. It's been in the works for about 3 or 4 years now. It's some contaminated property that's going to be cleaned up, and if you've been down Grand River where it's going in, it's going to be a great addition to the community. And also with Novi being as diverse a community as it is, it has the Asian theme to it. So I think it'll get some good support throughout the community and throughout the Oakland County area. So thank you for your support, and look forward to moving forward and having you come visit us. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner McCready. Anybody else that would want to speak during public comment on this item? Not you. Okay. Okay. Seeing no one else, I'll declare the public hearing for the Secura Novi project, brownfield plan project, closed, and we'll move on to our other proclamations and other communications. I will next call on Commissioner Nelson as a special proclamation for Carson Alexander.
Excellent. Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to call Carson Alexander up and to join me. This proclamation is very near and dear to my heart. What began as a mentorship nearly 20 years ago has turned into such a treasured friendship. So, Carson, I'm so glad you're here with us this evening. Whereas National Disability Employment Awareness Month is an opportunity to celebrate the achievements, talents, skills, contributions of individuals who have disabilities and to promote the right to equal employment opportunities for all people. And whereas it is important to recognize the tenaciousness and fortitude of exceptional individuals such as Carson Alexander, who overcome adversity in their own lives and go on to have a significant impact on the lives of others. And whereas from the face of prematurity to the face of pure maturity, Carson brings to light the story of being born during the first wave of micropreemies, even before the coining of that term. Weighing 1 pound, 8 ounces at 24 weeks gestation, she is living proof that miracles are indeed real and they are not always discrete, isolated events. And whereas since her first breath and to this day, Carson lives with numerous challenges, her compassion and patience and acceptance and perseverance and wisdom inspire many. Her life is full and rich with a desire to learn, to teach, to advocate, and to work toward a society in which all people are valued. And whereas in 2012, Carson took her challenges, strengths, struggles, and triumphs and began building her career as a motivational speaker and occupational therapy assistant to inspire others to meet their own unique challenges. Whereas Carson's experiences teach us to never take a single breath for granted, that nothing is impossible, and that hard work and determination pay off, and to never give up on your dreams. Carson is the story of hope and inspiration. Now therefore, David T. Woodward, Chairman of the Board of Commissioners, Commissioner Kristen Austin, and the entire board of the Oakland County Commissioners do hereby proclaim special commendation to Carson Alexander. Carson, we wish you the best in your career and in all your future endeavors.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. We'll do some pictures. Yeah, so.
We're gonna do some pictures really quickly. So, do you want to say something?
No.
No? Okay, let's do pictures. So, commissioners, if you'd like to come on up, we'll do a quick picture and move on to our next proclamation. Mom and Daddy, you come up here. Yeah. You know we gotta do your mama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? Oh. Thank you. Oh. Definitely get him. Sorry. I worry about her. Guess we're all going up. One more picture. One more. Missed it.
And again, congratulations again, Carson, for all your achievements, and I look forward to seeing even greater things in the future. Next up, I would like to welcome Commissioners Gary McGilvery and Commissioners Phil Weipert to recognize Miss Oakland County and Miss Oakland County's outstanding teen. We've got two incredible young women who are doing amazing work. And so I also call Melissa Baran and Stella, you just told that, Drew Dowswitz, yes. So, Commissioner Wiper.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Tonight we have the honor to recognize a couple of fantastic young women who are representing Oakland County. Melissa Byran is Miss Oakland County, and can I just say Stella? Yeah. and Stella is going to school in Madison Heights, and Commissioner McGilvery is going to give a proclamation to her. So, with that, I'd like to read the proclamation for Melissa. Melissa, whereas the incredible potential of bright, dedicated, and driven young women and their important role in shaping the future of our county and our country cannot be understated, whereas 2021 Miss Oakland County Melissa Byran is a shining example of a young woman with tremendous potential. She is a senior at the University of Michigan College of Engineering in Ann Arbor, where she is studying biomedical engineering and French, with a goal of attending medical school to become a craniofacial reconstructive plastic surgeon. And whereas Melissa is a member of the Michigan water ski team that recently won the 2021 Collegiate Water Ski National Championship, she is a member of the executive boards for both the Michigan Pops Orchestra and Campus Symphony Orchestra. She is also a member of Detroit's own electro-pop violin group, Nuclesia, with whom she performs for a variety of public and private events, including weddings, corporate and holiday parties, and fundraisers. Melissa is an active volunteer with the organization Project Sunshine, where she acts as the communications director to coordinate volunteer events for long-term pediatric hospital patients. She has served on the board and is an active member of the University of Michigan chapter of Phi Chi Pre-Medical Fraternity. And whereas Melissa's social impact initiative is Women in Science, Technology, Engineering, and Arts, and Mathematics, STEAM, through her platform, she promotes equity for women in these technical fields, educates young students on the amazing opportunities available through STEAM, and advocates for performing and visual arts programs in the schools. And whereas the Miss Oakland County Scholarship Program is a preliminary competition to Miss Michigan and Miss America, providing scholarship opportunities to young women that work, live, or attend in Oakland County, we proudly join with Melissa's family and friends to recognize her many accomplishments and to honor her for possessing talent, intelligence, character to win the title and crown for 2021 Miss Oakland County. Now therefore, David T. Woodward, Chairman of the Oakland County Board of Commissioners, together with Commissioner Philip Weipert and the entire County Board of Commissioners, we do hereby proclaim special commendation to Melissa Byran for being selected as 2021 Miss Oakland County. We wish her the best of luck as she represents Oakland County in the Miss Michigan competition in June of 2022, and continued success in all her future endeavors. You want to say a few words? You want to go? Okay. Now, part of the program is speaking in public and going around and representing the county and all around the state and part of that competition. And so maybe she can tell us a little bit about her program. And
hello, everyone. My name is Melissa Byran, and I am your 2021 Miss Oakland County. First, a little bit about myself. So I'm a senior at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. I'm studying biomedical engineering and French. For the talent portion of the Miss Oakland County Scholarship Competition, I performed a classical violin piece. I grew up in Milford, Michigan, right here in Oakland County, and attended Detroit Country Day School from elementary through high school. As Miss Oakland County, I'm a representative of the Miss America Association. The Miss Oakland County Scholarship Competition is a preliminary competition to the Miss Michigan Scholarship Competition, and then Miss Michigan goes on to compete for Miss America. Our current Miss Michigan is a former Miss Oakland County and U of M grad, Vivian Zong. She is working very hard to represent our community at both state and national levels. The Miss America organization prides itself on 4 tenets: service, style, scholarship, and success. While I hope to serve my community in many ways throughout my time as Miss Oakland County, my focus will be on my social impact initiative, Women in Science, Technology, Engineering, the Arts, and Mathematics, or STEAM. While over 50% of college degrees in these fields are earned by women in the United States, only 28% of women are actually employed in these fields. As Miss Oakland County, I hope to be a role model for young women in our community and inspire them and empower them to follow their dreams. I'm here today to introduce myself and my social impact initiative in the hopes of becoming even more involved in the Oakland County community. I love speaking with students about my own personal experiences and educating them and informing them about the myriad of opportunities in STEAM education that are available here today in Oakland County. I'd like to thank you all for your time, and I look forward to serving you in the coming year.
Thank you.
To give a proclamation to Stella Drozdowicz. She's the Oakland County Outstanding Teen, Miss Oakland Outstanding Teen. If I can read it, and then I'll give it to you. Whereas the incredible potential of bright, dedicated, and young women in their important roles in shaping the future of our county and our country cannot be understated. And whereas 2021 Miss Oakland County Outstanding Teen Stella Drozdowicz, I'll get that right? Drozdowicz. Yeah. Is a shining example of the young women and tremendous potential. She's a junior at Bishop Foley High School in Madison Heights and maintains a 4.25 GPA. After graduation, Stella plans to attend college and earn a degree in government and attend law school. Whereas Stella is the captain of the sideline and competition cheer teams, as well as a board member of the National Honor Society, Key Club Forensics Team. And she is a volunteer that works with the Humane Society of Macomb County and spends time serving at the church community and tutors young students. Whereas Stella Impact Initiative is perfectly imperfect, building self-esteem. Through her platform, she reaches out to youth organizations and teaches them the tangible ways to learn to love themselves and their bodies. And whereas Miss Oakland County Scholarship Program is a preliminary competition to Miss Michigan and Miss America, providing scholarship opportunities to young women that work, live, and attend school in Oakland County. We proudly join with Stella's family and friends to recognize the many accomplishments and to honor her for possessing the talent, intelligence, and character to win this title. Therefore, David T. Woodward, Chairman of the Board of Oakland County Commissioners, together with myself and the entire Board of Commissioners, do proclaim special commendation to Stella for being selected 2021 Miss Oakland Outstanding Teen. Congratulations. Up front? Why don't you come out here?
You want to tell us about the program?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. You want to tell us about your program? I'm so sorry. I forgot.
Hi, my name is Stella Drozdowicz. I'm Miss Oakland County's Outstanding Teen 2021. I attend Bishop Foley Catholic High School in Madison Heights, but I live in St. Clair Shores. I'm very excited to have been crowned Miss Oakland County's Outstanding Teen, and one of the ways that I'm choosing to serve my community through this title is with my platform, Perfectly Imperfect Building Self-Esteem. I am a Dove Body Positivity Campaign ambassador. Nice. Basically, I reach out to youth organizations and present them, young girls, with tangible ways to learn to love themselves. I'm doing 2 of these meetings throughout the month of November, and if any of you know any classrooms, youth organizations, Girl Scout troops who would enjoy to come hear me speak, I would absolutely love to do that. I struggled deeply with body confidence growing up. I was always the fat kid. I was never the one who was beautiful. I was never the one with the crown on her head. But through my program, I choose to empower young women all over the state of Michigan that it doesn't matter what you look like. You're beautiful because you're beautiful on the inside. And I feel like that's a message that can speak to so many of us. That is a message that can be so important and so impactful to so many of us. So I'm so thankful to have this opportunity to come here and speak today. And if you know anyone who would enjoy hearing me speak to their Girl Scout troop, to their youth organization, to their classroom, I would really love to come speak with them because the message that I'm here to share is so impactful. Thank you.
And remember, they didn't just get here. They've spent their entire lives preparing to get to this level. I had the opportunity to be a judge at one of the events for these, and it is just amazing. They've spent their lifetimes working on different service projects, communities, and doing things getting to this level. So we really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
And you're both great public speakers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots other names.
Come on up for a picture. Do other commissioners want to join us for a picture?
You're short.
Yeah.
I think it's a reminder, Carson, Melissa, Stella, I mean, you are among the best that our wonderful community has to offer. Thank you for all the work you do. Keep doing great work and changing lives. We're going to move on to the rest of communications, and I will recognize the clerk and to read any communications that we have today.
We have just one this evening, dated October 28th, 2021. To the Oakland County Board of Commissioners, please accept this letter as notification that I've exercised the authority granted to the chairperson of the board to approve grant applications in excess of $50,000 for the purposes of meeting a submission deadline. Due to the grantor deadlines and the board's grant submission process and calendar, it was not possible to submit the application for full board consideration in accordance with our normal procedures. I have authorized the submission of the following grant application. The 2021 to 2022 National School Lunch Program grant application for the amount of $145,000. The grant application deadline was October 15th, 2021. Sincerely, David T. Woodward, Chairman, Oakland County Board of Commissioners.
I believe that's our only communication. Can I get a motion to receive the communication? Moved by Commissioner Joliet, seconded by Commissioner Cavell. Any discussion? All in favor of receiving the communication, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Let the record reflect that the communications are received unanimously. This will now move us to the first public comment portion of tonight's meeting. This is an opportunity to speak on any topic on the agenda. We will have a second public comment section at the end of the meeting for any other topic that's not on today's agenda. We're going to start with the list that staff has brought up to me. If you filled out for this, we ask that you, you'll be afforded 3 minutes. I believe the clock is over there to help guide you. If you exceed the 3 minutes, kindly ask you to wrap up your comments so that we can get through everyone who's come out this evening to address the board. I ask that when you come up, if you could give your name and community of residence, and then begin speaking. We also ask, to recognize that we have norms and rules and decorum in this chamber, and ask you to refrain from any public demonstrations. We want to welcome everyone to come and speak. We want to be able to get through everyone as quickly and efficiently as possible. We don't want anyone to be discouraged or intimidated coming up here. Everyone is welcome here to speak and address the Board of Commissioners, and we want to ensure that happens. So I'm going to start with this list, and if there are others who are signing up, this is the opportunity to speak on items on the agenda. One other note, the commission this is not a Q&A session. This is an opportunity to give your thoughts on any item on the agenda. And I will start with Brother Thomas Zarafa. You're on the wrong list. Got it. I will put you on the second list. Jennifer Krieger. Welcome, Jennifer.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Krieger. I live in Farmington, Michigan, and I wanted to let you know that I'm a secretary in the district for an elementary school. What we are doing to our kids, putting them in masks for 8 hours a day, is ridiculous. Our children do not have breaks. When they get breaks, they can go to the cafeteria all together, and they can be eating all together, and then they have to go back to the classroom and put their mask back on. As adults, you can take your mask off when you're in your office. Our children cannot. I have high schoolers here who are in athletics. They're in masks for almost 10 hours a day. That's appalling that we are trying to put our kids in masks and containing them. And I just want to know, how can we have football games where students are neck to neck, shoulder to shoulder, knee to knee, and then the student section crammed in having the time of their lives, and they're all hanging out together on weekends, they're with each other at work, they're at concerts, they can go to church for hours on end, and yet when they go to school, that's the only place that they have to mask up. It's not fair to our kids, and what I'm asking of all of you is to really consider to remove the word mandate from our children. Allow the parents to make the decision, allow the staff to make the decision, and on behalf of the staff that do work with kids, they have a difficult time teaching in masks for 10 hours a day. Most of them have to be mic'd and are losing their voices. I have many staff in my community that we talk to that are out for many days at a time because they have such sore throats from having to force their words to be able to teach kids. We're doing a disservice to our kids mentally. They are not able to see and recognize faces. For those who have hearing impairment, for those people who maybe cannot physically wear a mask, like myself, I have been screamed at, I have been spit on, I have been told that I'm some kind of crazy person that's out to kill grandma. I'm not. I'm imploring you that please, other states have done this. Other states have done it successfully, where they completely removed the mandate and have given it back to the parents. They've given it back to the choices of the kids. Most of the kids who are wearing them do not wear them properly for 8 hours a day. They're soaking wet. Kindergartners that I see that come into my school, they are soaking wet, filled with boogers, with snacks. They're filled with all sorts of things, and they hand me, and they're crying because they're like, I'm thirsty. Our drinking fountains have been closed. They're struggling with dehydration. This is not fair to our kids. They're not thriving. We need our children to thrive again. Please give us that opportunity to be mask-free and not mandated anymore. Thank you.
Thank you. Catherine Kennedy. Catherine, are you coming? Welcome.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Catherine Kennedy. I'm from Lake Orion. I actually am very concerned about the way this entire county has been operating, and I have a real issue with all the new positions we seem to be needing. In the Democratic caucus at 5, I learned that the new attorney position that's in the agenda here is needed because of the expungement laws, which don't make any sense, where we're giving the criminals a clean slate up to 3 felonies and unlimited misdemeanors. And the raise the age proposal that I don't understand how Woodward could introduce it in a meeting for the communication for a $750,000 grant because they didn't get around to filing it on time. And then it's here to deal with juveniles that are 17 years old for delinquency issues. And why do they need interpreter services in those situations? I'm a little confused. So we've got an entire judicial staff attorney position on item 16A. That's another new ad. Another position of a health program coordinator to hand out needles, I think. These are page 1216 and page 1311 for any of you wanting to work along. And then the raise the age acceptance, that is really concerning, being for the juvenile delinquents. And then why are we doing all these things with the illegals? We have an entire page dedicated on workforce development, all the free things we can give to the illegal aliens that are invited into our area. And there isn't good vetting. It's a very concerning thing. And I see we have an airport runway proposal that the feds are funding completely also. And I am not at all convinced with the airport lease that was slid in the September 2nd meeting with the Customs and Border Patrol. I know we've gotten corporate counsel. Thank you, Commissioner Gingle, for getting an opinion from corporate counsel on that item. They have indicated that the lease does not allow the federal government to bring in the illegals, but there are private planes that are allowed to enter and exit freely. So I would respectfully request that we authorize a budget amendment to bring sheriff patrols to be able to monitor all of our airports to ensure that only legal traffic comes into our airports. The next thing, the budget amendment 10D, I'm appreciating the Supreme Court requiring redaction of all of our private data in the database. However, I would ask you don't publish it anyway. I don't understand how our private information is up to the government to enter into the internet at all. So I actually have an issue with that one. And please, I know it's a bummer, the end of the meeting. But I really have an issue with the resolutions. They need to be nonpartisan. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Kennedy. Next up, we've got Jeff Shaper, followed by Christy Fleming, and then Steve Sioma. Welcome, sir.
Hi, I'm Jeff Shaper. I rise to speak against the unscientific mask requirements for kids, and here is why. In Europe, they have never required masks on kids, and there has been no super spreader event associated with it. A real-life example is here, Macomb versus Oakland County. Well, Macomb County does not require masks. Oakland County does. Oakland County now has more COVID cases than Macomb. Studies have shown that masks trap and contain dangerous germs and viruses, including COVID. So in effect, your policy is encouraging the spread of the disease. Are you really proud of that? The kids' school mask policy was set by the NEA in consultation with the CDC. So in other words, political contributions trump scientific evidence. I urge you to repeal this unscientific mandate, free our kids from this tyranny. If you don't, more shame on you, anyone who votes to retain this. Listen, you can stick with your superstitions and dogma, but the Oakland County parents go where science takes us, and it says no mask on kids. It is not required. Thank you.
Thank you. Christy Fleming, followed by Steve Sioma. And then we've got Maria Gia.
Amen. What did you say? Please repeat the name.
Guys, I will keep saying these names. Please refrain from the applause so we can get through these names faster. Christy Fleming. Christy Fleming, followed by Steve Sioma. Welcome, Ms. Fleming.
Hi, my name's Christy Fleming. I'm from Oakland Township. For months, I've been asking myself why a reasonable person in this room would pass mask mandates? Why would they do that to our children? And I finally came up with the answer. You guys don't know the truth. You don't know the truth. We are being lied to. If you knew the truth, or if you were brave enough to hear it, I would not have to stand here and ask you to remove the mandates. Who told you that mandates were safe? Who told you? Where was the research? Was it the CDC? Who funds the CDC? How many patents for vaccines does the CDC own? How about the FDA? How much money? Who funds the FDA? How many board members from Pfizer are making decisions with the FDA? Who's Fauci's wife? What does he do? What does she do? While we're talking about who, why is India seeking the death penalty for the WHO doctors who neglected to give ivermectin to their citizens? Australia, there are right now concentration camps where they're sending people who are not sick, but they've been contact traced by their government. While we're talking about concentration camps, let's talk about the Holocaust. Why did people in the community willingly go into the ghetto? This one I'm going to tell you. Do you know that there was a health pandemic and that to slow the spread, the government told them that they were protecting the community, right? Does this sound familiar to you? And the reason why you might not know it's because it's not in the history books, and it's not in the history books because it was removed. Why did they remove that from the history books? Right now, France is on its 19th week in a row protesting health passports. Why? Brazil just filed 9 criminal indictments against the president because of how they're handling COVID. Why? Why is the world relevant? Because that is the framework for what's going on here in our state, in Oakland County. People are looking at us around the world and they're saying, be the fighters of freedom. This is not about the mask mandates. This is bigger than the mask mandates, and we're missing it because we're being lied to and we're not seeing it. What about the state? Is it up to the states? What's happening there? This is not about the mandates. Wake up. This is not about being Democrat. This is not about being a Republican. If it matters to you that you're a Democrat or Republican, then you're holding the wrong line. This is about freedom, and nothing that happens in this room, no decisions that are made, no one in this room is exempt from the consequences of the decisions that we are making. This is not about the mask mandates. Wake up. Wake up.
Thank you, ma'am. Steve Sioma, followed by Maria. I think it's Gia. Steve, welcome.
Oh, thank you. Good evening, everyone. So I came here in regards to somebody else was saying that other countries were looking to us for guidance, but really there's plenty of people within our own county that are looking to various other groups for guidance. There's actually been some letters sent to a particular school, which I won't mention, which has already put forth a resolution that they will be looking for a response from the Attorney General regarding the recent legislation as compared to the mandates, to see which one holds out, and if they don't get a response within that time frame, they may actually go ahead and remove the mandate themselves. Now, we'll see what happens there, but I would imagine if one does this within the county, others may follow suit. I do understand that it is not the place of this board to affect the mandate, and that is the health department and ultimately the county executive when it comes to any form of resolution. But we may see that ultimately people have a choice regardless. It may not come through legislation, but it may come through leaving the schools if they need to. Private education. We may see a return of community education if necessary. Ultimately, it comes down to the community to solve things. And we may see it returning to that again. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Maria Gaia, followed by Mo Talia, and then Anna Bayardi.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Maria? Welcome.
You know this is wrong, but you do it anyway. You know it is harmful to children, but you push it at any expense. You know you are not following real science, just some censored version of truth, but you don't care and you force your destructive agenda at any cost. You don't believe in masks, you know they don't work, and you don't wear them personally except in these meetings and for political theater, but you mandate them on our defenseless, vulnerable children regardless. You know that thousands of citizens don't agree with you, but you push your evil plan forward in this county. You know the poison death shot is harmful and killing people, but you want everyone to have it anyway. You know that kids have less than 0.5% chance of dying from COVID and a greater risk of harm from the clot shot itself. Despite that, you force this experimental, non-FDA approved inoculation on them. You try to dismiss the citizens that speak out against your actions in every way possible because you don't want your evil truth being told. You disrespect our views and anyone that disagrees with your destructive socialist agenda. You think your view is the only view and the right view, but it's not and it never will be. You say you are not the one making the decisions, but you empower those and are in support of those that do. So you're complicit in all of this, all of these harmful violations. Mr. Woodward, a few things for you to know. First, when you throw fits like a toddler, we laugh at you. As many of your colleagues do too. I'm glad to see that you're allowing us to actually express something tonight, so thank you for that. Secondly, you do prevent issues that you don't like from getting on the agenda for discussion to prevent us from being heard. It's unprofessional and immature. As somebody in your position, professionalism should be part of it. And at this point, the way you conduct yourself and your leadership when you do that is inappropriate. Lastly, if you think us parents decided to have children and let people like you make key decisions about how we raise them, think again. I am the only parent of my child, not you or any other commissioner. And I thank God for that every single day after watching you, seeing your toxic beliefs, your ignorance to science, and your disregard for human lives. It's shameful. All commissioners take note and hear us loud and clear. This side of the room will probably be happy. You guys, not so much. We are the majority in Oakland County. We are not going away. We will take legal action against you, and we can't wait. We don't give up when it comes to protecting our children, families, neighbors, communities, or America. We won't stay silent and allow you to destroy everything we've worked for, harm citizens, and force mandates on us and our vulnerable children. We love America. We won't allow you to, America haters, to destroy it with your socialist ideologies. We have pity for people like you, not hate. We pray for you because you need the guidance from God. You should be asking for his strength to change your evil ways and his forgiveness for the harm you have caused on thousands of children in this county. The last thing I'll leave you with is this. We love God, the good Lord, and he, the Almighty One, is on our side, not yours. So good luck because he always prevails.
All right. Mo Talia, followed by Anna Bayari, and then Christy Rust.
I didn't necessarily hear you call my name, but I know I was number 3 on that. As far as the agenda, Heather Smiley from Lake Orion.
No, I didn't call Heather Smiley.
I'm sorry?
I didn't call Heather Smiley.
I know I'm number 3 though on that list that we signed up for.
No, you're not.
Right after Catherine Kennedy. I put my name right there.
Well, you're not number 3. Mo Talia. We will get through everybody. Mo Talia, Anna Bayari, Christy Rust.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Talia. I am a physician who used to work at Henry Ford Hospital in West Bloomfield until I refused to take the vaccine, so they took away my privileges. So let me give you guys some examples. I had a patient that I took care of at the hospital, came in with COVID, got sick, kept getting sick. I wanted to give him ivermectin. The hospital refused. So I finally went over the heads of the people, got him the ivermectin. He left the hospital 9 days later. Now, five other cases of one patient at Henry Ford Hospital, Canton, 2 patients at Providence Hospital, Novi, 2 other patients at Henry Ford Hospital in West Bloomfield, all of them sick, all of them on a vent, all of them dying. The families wanted ivermectin. All hospitals, all of them said no. All 5 dead. The thought process of these physicians is insane. That they've given all their protocol medications to these patients, and then they tell the families, sorry, there's nothing else for us to do. And then when the families request the ivermectin, they said, no, not part of our protocol. So let me ask you guys this, all of you guys sitting around here. If your father, mother, wife, husband, kids, one of them winds up in the ICU, and they've given them everything under the sun, and they're telling you there's nothing else to do. You tell me you wouldn't sell your soul to the devil, which some of you guys already have, okay? That if a voodoo doctor in Haiti says, I got chicken broth made out of bat wings, lizard legs, guts, and everything else, but it'll help your family member, tell me you wouldn't use it.
tell them how cheap ivermectin is. All the money.
It's coming up.
Please let Mr.
Okay?
Talia speak.
Ivermectin, World Health Organization sells it for 2 cents a tablet, okay? I can get it for you for under $80 at the facility that'll take care of the patients. Yet the medication they continue to use in the hospital is remdesivir, $3,120. Tell me it's not about money, okay? I had a meeting with the legislature people on Monday in Lansing. I asked one of them, I said, are you getting the vaccine? He goes, we're not mandated. So why is it that we're all mandated to get it and they're not? Lastly, masks. I can give you a study. 47 studies showed that masks did nothing. 32 studies showed that masks were harmful to the kids. Even Fauci said that they don't do anything unless you've got the COVID infection. That's it.
Thank you, Dr. Talia. Next up, we got Anna Bayari. And before you speak, Anna, I just want to remind that this is the opportunity to speak on things on the agenda. So if you please address your comments to things on the agenda. If you have nothing to speak to things on the agenda, there's a second opportunity to speak at the end of the business meeting. Anna, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Anna Bayardi once again from Farmington. I am also a teacher in Farmington Public Schools. Would someone please, I'm sure I won't get it from here, but this is a paid position, correct? So Gwen.
Excuse me, ma'am. Address your comments to me.
Okay, could you please ask that Gwen turns and listens when we're, could you please ask the paid position that she turns when we're speaking?
No.
No. So
ma'am, you address it.
We pay you. I have it. Thank you. We pay you.
Okay, we're going to take a 15-minute recess. want to remind, everyone here who's come to speak to public comment to please be respectful of everyone's time. This is the public comment in which we ask you to speak to items on the agenda. And so if we could keep ourselves to that, there's another public comment at the end of the meeting that allows to speak on any unrelated topic that's not on the agenda. So I'd like to welcome back Anna Bayari.
I humbly apologize for everyone for causing that interruption. I guess as a person that's paying your salary, I'm humbly asking that you just listen to us. We're not nuts, I promise. I just wanted to read something which is on the CDC website that you all can investigate. According to the CDC, there have been 63 deaths from COVID in kids aged 1 to 4, and 172 deaths in kids aged 5 through 15. For all ages, there are 723, almost 724,000 people that have died. So here I am in Farmington Public Schools as a full-time building substitute teacher. Teachers don't want to come, boom, Anna's there on the spot. Kids can't hear, kids can't talk, kids aren't learning. It's beyond me as a simple lady sitting here why this is political, why these guys all have masks on, you guys don't. This is just a freedom of our right. As Americans, as parents, we are doing irreparable damage to these kids. Kids learn by seeing your mouth, by watching your eyes. Kids in high school, they come in with hoodies, they come in with masks. I don't even know who that kid is because you can't see with the mask. I don't know who has the power. I don't know how this comes to an end. But as a teacher, as a parent, as a person who never wanted to get involved in politics, but somehow hanging out with this guy for a decade, here I am. This is just wrong on so many levels. It shouldn't be anything political. It shouldn't be you guys. What are you? You're Republicans? You're Democrats? Like, what is this? We're all grown adults. Why is this happening? We have children that can't breathe. We have children that don't want to go to school because they can't breathe or they got boogers in their masks. Who owns this? How do you guys, if you all have the power, because by God's witness, I don't even know if you all have the power to nuke this, but how do you guys go home at night and listen to us? Do you think we're all crazy? Do you really think we're all loco? We're not. We're seeing it. Mo lost his job because he refused to get vaccinated and is trying to educate people and reads journals, and his phone is off the hook just trying to educate people because the media's insane. So please listen to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Christy Rusk, followed by Bobby Roop, and then Tasha, I think it says Schwain.
Hi, Christy Rust. I am from Novi, Michigan, and I just want to read an excerpt from the U.S. National Library of Medicine, and it's from the NIH, which is the Dr. Fauci, you've all heard of him.
Christy, are you speaking to an item on the agenda?
I am speaking to the mask item 18 or 20 on the agenda, absolutely, yep.
Okay.
And so this was a study that was done. This was published in the International Journal of Environmental Research and Public Health, volume 18, 2021 in April. And it says, is a mask that covers the mouth and nose free from undesirable side effects in everyday use and free of potential hazards. Now, I can't read all of it because it's super long, but of these 44 papers that they were studying here with negative mask effects, 22 were published in 2020, and 22 were published actually prior to COVID. So without that, COVID in it. And this is what was said in terms of the pediatrics, because we're all here wanting our kids maskless. A recent observational study of tens of thousands of mask-wearing children in Germany helped investigators objectify complaints of headaches, difficulty concentrating, joylessness, learning difficulties, and fatigue in the 25+ thousand children that were evaluated. 25% had a new onset of anxiety and even nightmares. Let me go back to this next page because there were some important things here. According to experts, masks block the foundation of human communication and the exchange of emotion, and not only hinder learning, but deprive children of the positive effects of smiling, laughing, all of that, okay? I'm a literacy interventionist, and I work with struggling readers, and I told you last time, 2 weeks ago, that half of my first graders are well below grade level. I walked into a classroom last week because a teacher had to go to a meeting, so I had to quit doing my job because we don't have enough substitutes, we don't have enough teachers. And there were 4 adults in the room because so many of these kids were crying and having tantrums because they don't know how to do school right now. Because they're in first grade, they've never had real school without a mask. It is awful. Now, one more quick thing, because I only have about 40 seconds since I had to take a little time to answer your question. In Oakland County now, with our mask mandate, we have the most school outbreaks. If you go to the department, michigan.gov, this week, Oakland County had the most school outbreaks. If these pieces of fabric are working, which they aren't, why are we having outbreaks? Yeah. So, give up the power back to the parents. I don't care if you want your kid to wear a mask, that's fine. I can't do my job with it, and luckily with my job, I get to take it down, and I have my kids take it down because I'm exempt from it because of what I do. But the parents should have that same choice.
Amen. Thank you. Bobby Roop, followed by Tasha Swain, and then Kurt Burkett.
I think you said Bobby Roop.
I did.
All right. Bobby Roop, Oxford. So, I'm kind of a numbers guy, and I've been trying to figure out what the representation is here in this room. I am going to speak about the mask topic. Oakland County has about 1.2 million people, which is a lot of people. It's a lot of numbers, right? And then in this room, we're kind of split, right? There's about 10 people over here and 11 over here. And I was trying to dig into how many people this 10 represents versus the 11. I couldn't figure out those numbers. But it's about 50%, right? So there's 1.2 million. Right around the middle, we're kind of represented. So with that, Mr. Woodward, what I struggle with in this approach, and that what I've been seeing the last couple months, is that you're silencing I don't want to say majority, but pretty close to a majority of the people in this county by not. You are listening, and I appreciate that. You all are listening, or most people are, but you're not putting it on the agenda, and you finally are tonight. You're silencing a whole group of people in this county. And I know that your role, and sir, I don't envy your position. You deal with a lot of, you said we're not crazy. We are crazy. There's crazy on both sides. And you've done a decent job at handling it to the best of your ability. But sir, the best thing that you can do in this time is to listen, but also take action on it. Then that's all we're wanting is there's a lot of people here without masks. We're all passionate about this. Hear us, but also take action on it. I was saying earlier, one of the worst things that happened last year throughout the pandemic was that our governor just took the authority solely into her hands and didn't allow her constituents and other people to speak into how she should be handling in that. And what happened was then all of the pressure gets put on her. And sir, when you do the same thing, all the pressure is going to come onto you. And I don't want that. I'd rather deal with Mr. Spitz over here directly than you, right? And I think you would want that the same. These are the people that listen to us. Over here. These are the voices that speak for us. And when I'm dealing with the people in Oxford, when the Oxford School Board president has reached out to the health director of this county several times and has not received a response back, sir, who are we supposed to talk to? So we come here and we think that we have a voice. We've got 3 minutes and we appreciate that time. But sir, what are we supposed to do? And we're not seeing any action. We're passionate, we're crazy, but we love people, we love our kids, and that's it. And the best thing that you can do in this time is to rely on the people over here and say, you guys, I'm just dealing with them. Put the pressure back on Mr. Spitz. Put it on Mr. Ginchel. Put it on the lady from Pontiac and remove yourself from it. That's the best thing that you can do right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. Tasha Schlein and then Kurt Burkett, followed by Sue Young.
I think you called my name. I'm Tasha Shergan from Clarkston. We've seen pictures of the commissioners on social media at Arts Beats Neats. We've seen them at the Bruce Springsteen concert. They're not wearing masks. It's a charade. It's an absolute joke that you guys come in here. I've been to the committee meetings where the commissioners are taking their masks off, they're getting fresh air, they're drinking coffee, they're putting them back on. It's a big charade. It's a big joke. It's a facade. We know the truth. You've been hearing the truth for months. Since May, you've been hearing the truth. You've heard it on when we were doing calls. You've heard it live in person, hours and hours of it. I don't even understand why we're here. The problem is parents are the ones that should be making the decisions. We don't co-parent with the government. We're not asking your permission. We're done with all of this. Our kids should not be masked, period.
Thank you, Tasha. Kurt Burkett, followed by Sue Young and then Tammy Schroeder.
Good evening, everybody. Just a little bit nervous, but don't worry, I'm not going to imagine y'all in your underwear, okay? I'm here to speak about the...
Can you give your name?
Pardon me?
What, your name and the community?
Sue Young.
Oh, Sue Young, okay. Well, I called Kurt first, but Kurt, you'll be next, okay? Are you Kurt? Yeah, okay. Go ahead, Sue.
Thank you. I'm here to speak about the August 24th announcement by the health officer, Leanne Stafford, which mandates putting masks on our students while they're inside a school building. Why this is just inside the school building and not outside the school building, don't know. But don't go ahead and change the rules, okay? There are some people who think that masks protect our children from getting COVID and passing it around. That's fine. Let them mask their kids. You hear people say, make good choices. You don't hear and you hear people say, or you don't hear people say, not do what I say. You hear, it's all about the choices you make. Well, now, Leanne Stafford and David Coulter have taken away the choice for every parent to decide what's medically necessary for their kids. Not cool. You want science? Here's my science. Kids don't get COVID, and if they do, they don't die from it. According to the CDC, and I will be happy to provide anyone with the link to the data that I'm using, kids 0 through 17 years old in the United States have a 99.9% survival rate. So is it really necessary to mask 100% of the students when the threat is so minute? Again, Mr. Coulter and Ms. Stafford, let the parents choose if this threat is enough to mask their child. Commissioners, I truly hope you are using your own critical thinking skills when it comes to voting for the motions before you and seriously considering all your constituents and how they will be affected. Don't be puppets to your parties. Do you ever actually go out and talk with people to get their thoughts? And better yet, take them into consideration when making decisions? And Mr. Woodward, at the meeting after the emergency order was announced, you said, and I quote, crowds of dissenters represent a vocal minority mobilized from hardcore conservative areas in this county. I don't think this is a minority vocal group. I think we're in the majority and we're vocal. There were lots of numbers and examples in the emergency health order, like infections and hospitalizations are increasing among children in the United States. Is anyone tasked with seeing if that's still the case? Because according to, yes, the CDC, in their COVID data tracker weekly review, and this is dated October 22nd, COVID cases, hospitalizations, and deaths continue to decline. There's a release in the Oakland County verbiage when the emergency order was released, it indicates masking is one of the best defenses against increased transmission. Well, guess what? Kids don't there is no transmission for the kids, and there's little to no hospitalization.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for coming. Kurt Burkett, followed by Tammy Schroeder, and then Deanna Jamil.
Hi, my name's Kurt Burkett. I'm nobody really other than resident West Bloomfield. I'd just like to take the next couple minutes to maybe give you folks in front of me and the folks behind me just a different paradigm in which to look at our current events. This is related to, I think it's section 15 of the agenda, election integrity, and a different way to respond to it, perhaps. I think that we are in a war, and I'm not trying to be hyperbolic about that. It's not a conventional war, obviously, but you know, you look at the southern border or the way that we left Afghanistan and the push for vaccine, passports, things like that. I think there's a war going on, and we need to be responding as if we are under attack. And that's Republicans and Democrats. And there's two ways to respond to an unconventional war that are very powerful, that we all have in possession of. Well, if you're a person of faith, I think our greatest weapon is prayer. I think we need to be on our knees and praying that God will lead us through this time together. And the other weapon that we have at our disposal, which most people don't think of as a weapon, is love. And you know, how does that relate to a war, you might ask? If you have children or grandchildren or nieces or nephews, you love those kids, right? With all your heart. You'd do anything for them. And if you love your kids, you want them to grow up in a free country that cherishes liberty and individual choice, right? And you'd do anything for that. So we have a resolution about, I mean, there's a lot of debate about the election results in 2020. I think the world has its own opinion on that, which I share. But for future elections as well, we need to do everything we can to secure our elections. If we don't, we're lost. We lose this republic to whoever these faceless people are. And if you love your children, you will work to secure our elections. Okay? If you love your position of authority more than you love your kids, you probably shouldn't be here. And if you hate your political opponent more than you love your kids, you shouldn't be here either. That's all I really wanted to say is I think the paradigm needs to be that we are in a war, and we need to be praying and loving each other and working through this together. That's all I have to say. Thank you for your time.
Tammy Schroeder, followed by Deanna Jamil, and then Kinsey Nelson. No, I said Tammy Schroeder, Deanna Jamil, and then Kinsey Nelson.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Thank you for this time to speak to you all. My name is Tammy Schroeder. I live in Troy, Michigan. My daughter is a sophomore at Avondale High School. And what I want to talk about is, I agree with everything everyone else has said, but I want to add the psychological component to this discussion. My daughter has an exemption to wearing the mask under her nose because she didn't want to go to school without a mask on because she didn't want to be different. So we compromised with her medical professional to wear it under her nose so that she could breathe and accommodate her medical condition. Okay, so but this is what's happening in the school. So my daughter, who's the most compassionate person I know, loves everyone more than herself. The psychological piece is this whole thinking, right, that we have to sacrifice our own health to make somebody else feel safe. This is a damaging psychological mind game that is going on. And that is a psychological burden. I know there's a law that talks about the psychological issue in the Michigan statute somewhere, and I wish I had that memorized, but I don't. But this is what's happening. So my daughter is going around school, and not only that, she has this exemption, but then the staff is like, put it up over your nose, her students are policing her, put it up over your nose. And she's doing that to get through the moment, but she then feels like she has to explain what her medical condition is, but that's nobody's business. That's between herself, her doctor, and me. I am her mother. When she comes home and we talk about these things, none of you are there. The school isn't there. I'm the one having to help retrain my daughter's thinking to what is correct, that her medical needs are her own, and she has to take care of those. She's not responsible for anybody else to feel safe. That's their responsibility.
Please let.
And I am done. I am done because that's my daughter, and I'm responsible for her, and none of the rest of you are. You don't pay her medical bills. You don't fight for her. You don't get up at 6 a.m. and make her lunch for her busy day. That's me. And I have to undo all of this stuff. And, and then there's the division that comes between this little brainwashing thing that's going on and her mom who loves her the most. Division at home. So this isn't about my daughter's health, okay? This is about controlling her thinking, and how she responds to the world around her. And we already have values in our home that address that, but they're being challenged and they're being undermined, and I don't appreciate it.
Thank you, Deanna. Deanna Jamil, followed by Kinsey Nelson, then Dan Giminek.
Hello, my name's Deanna Jamil. I live in Walled Lake. I am a mother. I also have my master's in social work. I worked for Child Protective Services in Wayne County for 5 years. Almost 2 of those years were in Highland Park, Michigan. So with that being said, I think I have pretty good understanding of what child abuse is, and what's happening to our kids is child abuse. I'm glad to see your faces over here. It's nice to see your eyes at least, but it's really hard to speak without seeing emotions. So imagine a child learning how to read from a teacher that is masked. You can't see emotions, you can't pronounce words. I am homeschooling my 5-year-old right now, and we are in the process of learning to read. And I have to go over multiple times without a mask on how to read certain words. So I really, we're taking away the most fundamental value, which is reading and our education. I refuse to accept this new normal. It is unnatural. A covered face is a blank face. Basically, we are producing a generation of fear, and we are making children obedient. It's good for children to test limits and to make mistakes, but due to this fear it is instilling and molding a generation of compliance. I will not comply with this unlawfulness. I am beyond disturbed by the push on this experimental vaccine that is also pushed by an animal abuser on our most vulnerable population. I have always loved the state of Michigan, and I have always dreamed of living in such a beautiful county such as Oakland County, but frankly, I am very, very embarrassed by the way that we are handling such situations. We are free people, we are individuals, and I believe that our rights are being stripped from us, and it's not fair at all. Soon, this mask mandate is going to be turning into a vaccine mandate. I am urging my fellow humans to actually work for the public. We deserve better. Our children deserve better. Our forefathers would be outraged. I am outraged, but I will continue to pray for everyone to look into your hearts and to think of our poor innocent children who do not make up for the big enough majority to be so significantly affected by this mask mandate. I hope and pray that soon, one day, we can accept this illness for what it is. Basically, I also am going to complain a little bit about our healthcare system. I have a daughter. My 5-year-old daughter was experiencing some cold-like symptoms. I called the doctor, and I can't even be seen by a doctor without a negative COVID test. How are we supposed to treat just basic illnesses without everything is COVID related? A runny nose, COVID. Eye mucus, COVID, everything, COVID. I'm not gonna make my daughter take a COVID test to be seen by a doctor. It's ridiculous.
Thank you, Kinsey. Next up, we got Dan Giminek, and followed by Ryan Johnson, and then Larry Schmidt. Dan, are you here? Is Dan here? Dan Giminek? Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Kinsey Nelson first and then Dan. I apologize.
Hi.
Welcome.
My name's Kinsey Nelson. I live in Walled Lake. I have 3 kids. I homeschool one of them. One is in private school and one goes to public high school. And since this pandemic has started, I've been on a quest for truth, just trying to find answers. And through it all, I've met some really wonderful people behind me here. And I was hoping to get to know some of you, because honestly, I've been trying to figure out exactly what the Board of Commissioners does in regards to the health mandate. And I'm addressing number 20, the item number 20 on the agenda. And I am not in favor of that, and neither are my kids. And in fact, they couldn't be here tonight, but they wanted me to speak on their behalf. So I wanted to share what they said.
Every time I wear a mask, I cannot breathe. It is hard for me to breathe in a mask. My teachers will tell me to put my mask up, and I will listen, but it is not worth it. I cannot breathe in my mask. I have crazy side effects. The side effects are for me is it is hard for me to breathe in the mask. I get drowsy and I cannot stay focused. It is really hard for me to stay focused when I'm only breathing in carbon dioxide. Also, my friend had my teacher come up to him because his mask kept falling down under his nose, and she came up to him and tightened it, touched his face, and to tighten his mask for him. And it made it harder for him to breathe. He has asthma too. That should not happen. That should not be allowed. Unmask our children.
In fact, that was the first time I was hearing it. She took my phone and said, I'm going to go, and she went in the closet and recorded what she wanted to say. And this was my 9-year-old.
I hate masks. Every time I was at school, I couldn't breathe. And everybody would tell me to put my mask up, and I would get so mad. And I can't breathe, so I can't wear a mask. And kids can't wear a mask, so unmask all kids. I couldn't breathe in it, so all the water from my mouth, from my spit would make it wet, and I couldn't breathe, and it would get all soggy and stuff, and it would be so sweaty on my face.
So those are their words. I did not tell them that. And I agree with the gentleman that went before me a little bit that this is a war, a battle, not that we can see, not like the cruel war of World War II, where we saw the cruelty, and now we know the history of that. But a lot of that wasn't even discovered until the damage was already done, when thousands of Jews had died, and none of us knew it. And we don't know the effects that the masks have on the kids now.
Thank you, Kinsey.
We don't know the long-term effects until after they're here.
Dan Gimnick, followed by Ryan Johnson, then Larry Schmidt.
I'm Dan Jeminek. I live in Wixom with Kinsey and a lot of the friends over here. They had asked me to come up and just say a couple of words. I don't have much to say. I don't have anything really prepared, some notes I took, but I essentially want to ditto everybody in this room because I think there's been some fabulous information. You don't need much more from me. But I do have to ask the group, what drives the decision, as you can see, that some people want to be masked and some people don't, but what drives the decision to say we have to be masked? You can hear it from the kids. The kids are struggling. Everybody's struggling. Half of us wear a mask, half of us don't. So I ask, is it an issue with control? Do we have to control the people? Do we have to control the populace? Is it fear? I'm afraid that if somebody comes into my school and comes down sick, they're going to sue us and I'm in trouble. Is that the case? So I think you'd get a lot of support from the group here that would say, hey, let it stand, let it be as it is. So there's something that's driving the decision. I haven't gotten down to the bottom of it. I hope to meet with more of you folks to really understand that, because if we could get to that root and kind of get to the bottom of that, we might be able to work together as a team. And I'm thinking also, why wouldn't we be the county that could live with those that are masked and those that aren't masked? And essentially say, we're at peace with this, we're okay. Okay, we object in some areas, but it used to be Democrats, I don't know if we are or not, or Republicans. Okay, we disagree on these points, but you know what? We're all here for the same purpose. And I'm not seeing this here. We got this battle going on and strong lines being drawn. We got kids in the middle of all this, which should never be. So I would ask to please consider somehow to find a way that we could live peacefully with a mask group and not a mask group. And I think that can be achieved.
Thank you, Dan. Ryan Johnson, followed by Larry Schmidt, then Melissa Williams.
Hi, my name is Ryan Johnson. I live in Troy. I have one son in Troy Elementary. So, as I understand it, you have a motion here to decide whether you're going to debate whether or not to allow schools to decide whether to have a mask mandate or not. Are you serious? Serious? So, the mask mandate as issued by the county was always illegal, has been since day one. It took the state legislature passing a new Section 250, a new building law, to make it more abundantly clear, because apparently you weren't getting it. Now you're trying to foist the responsibility you've lost, the power that you've lost, over to the schools. It's kind of like a shell game. Oh, last year the governor took unconstitutional powers away from the people and ran our lives. Then this year you're running the same unconstitutional game at the county level. And now, when all lawsuits are mounting and the pressure's mounting, and the state legislature has emphatically told you, you can't do it. Now you're trying to shell game it over to the schools. It was always illegal. That means it is still illegal for the schools to do it as well. So MCL 3801307 is illegal 4 different ways by that law. And I know there's a few attorneys that have claimed, oh, well, it's not because X, Y. 2016, the state legislature said, hey, this law was passed in 1976. It's not really super clear. So why don't we update our compliance with it? In 2017 or 2018, the state education board did. They published a 29-page compliance document. It's available online for everybody to read. On page 18, it very specifically says that a school therapist has the option to recommend an adaptive device or a safety device. Not a medical device, adaptive or safety, and it very specifically says why it may be recommended. It is the parent's choice. You know why they didn't say that they could recommend a medical device? Because that is strictly between doctor and patient. None of you have any authority in any of that. Now, another gentleman said we're in a war. He's right. There's a global war going on, and this nonsense is being fought across countries across the world right now. We're in a revolution here. It's a communist revolution, and you guys keep trying to grab more power than you're allowed to have over our lives, and we're done with it.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Larry Schmidt, followed by Melissa Williams, and then Sandra Carolyn.
My name hasn't been called, but I'm going to skip in line.
Larry Schmidt?
Can I skip in line? Would that be okay?
No,
okay, awesome.
no,
Because
ma'am,
I'd like
no.
to get I can't, he didn't. I'm on the list. I was on the wrong list, and I signed the other list. I was hoping to get my children to speak before it was bedtime. I didn't expect to be here this late. I signed on the wrong list.
An item on the agenda?
I am on the agenda, absolutely.
Oh, okay, I don't have your, I got to keep track of it. So what
Maggie
list are you on?
Setar from Milford. I wrote on both lists. It's
Go
here,
ahead.
right here.
Sure.
Thank you. So from the, I sent this sheet to Dr. Sala, so he had the list, and from which I was going to quote. And the article is from the International Journal of Environmental Research, 44 studies, 1,030 patients, 516 doctors. And this was based of masks. The disruption of nonverbal communication due to the loss of facial expression recognition under the mask can increase feelings of insecurity, discouragement, numbness, isolation, which can be extremely stressful and mentally and hearing impaired, just in general. And I find it quite interesting when all the years as a mom, 10 and 8 years I've been a mom, I've worked with my doctor on anything medical.
And we wrote in a medical exemption to our school, and it was denied. While other communities and counties are accepting medical exemptions. I don't find that fair at all. What's super interesting is in this study, in understanding the value in the communication and the empathy you do not have when you wear a mask, because I don't know what you look like. You won't remember me as well with a mask on as you will today, seeing my face and my entire face and me smiling and expressing, because being called a domestic terrorist, I can tell you my weapon is love, because there is nothing more important than my children. And with that, the teachers in our schools are having a hard time in expressing themselves, and my children have a hard time understanding. I know I do. And I have a very good hearing at my age, but if I order coffee and you have a mask on, I'm not sure exactly what you're saying because I can't read your lips. And the memory that we have of our favorite teacher, I don't care who you are, what age, we all have a favorite teacher. And the two things that first come to mind is one, the memory of how they made us feel. And two, typically it's their face, and it's usually because a smile greeted us at the door and helped us get through these situations that are hard. And my son, who's 10, would like to share his feedback.
I would like a choice.
That's all. We just want a choice.
Thank you. Larry Schmidt, followed by Melissa Williams, then Sandra Carolyn.
My name is Larry Schmidt. I'm the proud father of my daughter Deanna and 3 other granddaughters that live in Oakland County. I'm a clinical social worker. We've talked before. You guys are right, there is a revolution. There is a war going on. I'm first generation to be in this country. We studied the Constitution. We studied it thoroughly, what a limited republic means. This is all about the big reset. And it's no conspiracy theory, all right? And they all know it. I want to start off with a little icebreaker. I'm going to do this as quickly as I can. I got a lot of friends that were in Special Forces, Army Rangers, Navy SEALs. This is a way to get your oxygen in. For those who have a mask on, feel free to take them off. Apparently you don't feel free. I'm sorry. Anyhow, this is called box breathing. And box breathing, it's called box because there's 4 sides to a box. I want everybody to breathe in.
Sir, are you speaking to an item on the agenda?
I want everybody to, I am, mask wearing. I'm giving you, I also went to University of Detroit Mercy, graduated from there, graduated from Eastern Michigan University, anthropology, clinical social work degree. I'm talking about mask and where culture, where it comes from and what happens. I just want everybody to breathe for a minute. 4 seconds in, this is box breathing, so you can remember 4 sides all the time. So everything's 4 seconds. 4 seconds in, deep breath. 4 seconds out. Keep your lungs empty for 4 seconds, okay? So again, it's empty lungs, breathe in for 4 seconds, blow out for 4 seconds, okay? Keep empty lungs for 4 seconds, keep cycling that. That increases the oxygen, your brain cells, and that in itself will calm us down. What I want to read here real quick, and I'm going to give a history on mask wearing. Think about what countries and what tribes require face masking. Think about it for a minute. And why do they do that? So there's no individuality. We had kids up here, he's asking for a choice. Son, you live in America, United States. It is the right of every individual to pursue their happiness and the government's responsibility to make sure nobody uses force or fear or coercion to get in that way. That is a limited republic. We do not live in a Marxist, communist, socialist society, and our revolution, we had a revolution, what, 1774, 75 when it started? We took on the #1 Navy in the world, an army, and they thought we were just delinquents. We didn't have a chance in hell. What happened in 1776? Actually, what happened in 1778 when it was officially over? All these people didn't have a chance in hell, just defeated the #1 power in the world, okay, Britain. So let me just end with this. We are a limited republic. Stay free. Fight the cause, because those other countries, they do it on purpose. They want no individuality. Stay free.
Thank you, sir. Melissa Williams, followed by Sandra Carolyn.
Hello, my name is Melissa Williams. I'm from West Bloomfield, and I'm speaking regarding, I'm not sure if it's still agenda item 15, the Lago Resolution 21412, supporting the elections process and confidence in the
Melissa,
November.
I mean, that item's no longer on the agenda.
It's no longer on the agenda?
Right. It's been postponed. It's not. I mean, if you want to speak at the end of the meeting, it's not on the agenda anymore.
Yeah, it was on the agenda as far as today. So we're
The
supposed
agenda
to
that
have
was
at least,
adopted is not on the agenda, Melissa.
We're supposed to have
I'll
it-
bring you up. If you want to speak about that, you can speak at the end of the meeting. We're not voting on it today. We're not debating it today. We're not talking about it today.
someone else spoke about the agenda. Don't you need like 18 hours of public notice on an agenda item?
Is that, ma'am, if you want to speak about that item, it's the next public session. I'll make you first.
Okay, that'll give me more time to make notes.
Okay, thank you. Sandra Carolyn?
Yeah.
Welcome, Sandra.
I'm Sandra Carlan from Novi. Unhappy that you break the rules like that. Why is there a resolution on the agenda that you hadn't pulled off to not apply Act 152 of 2011 to your Board of Commissioners for 2022? This act limits a public employer's expenditures for employee medical benefits plans. Why would this body be seeking to remove those legislated limits voted in 2011 for this upcoming year? Are the vaccines you're mandating for others in the community really safe and effective? I can answer that for you, backed by testimony of epidemiologist Dr. Peter McCullough and mRNA technology inventor Dr. Robert Malone. I sympathize with your busy lives and your heavy schedules since I'm retired. What I'd like you to understand is that I'd like to understand why you refuse to listen to those of us who are retired business owners, lifelong learners, and physicians who spend hours each day researching the very issues that you are now making decisions about. Yet you take your votes on the agenda each meeting before even listening to those who have come to comment. The Bible warns in Proverbs 18:13 that he that answereth a matter before he hears it, it's folly and a shame unto him. Shame on you, all of you who refuse to listen to us. When you bury your loved ones, as I have this month, who followed your expert advice of safe and effective full vaccination status, I hope you'll remember the voice of this warning. I beg you to stop the plans that are already in motion to do irreparable damage to the children by forcing further mandates and the seniors upon them, even if they are already immune due to natural antibodies or in less danger from the virus than the vaccine. I ask you to follow the existing law regarding Act 152 that limits expenditures for your medical plans. You should not enjoy unlimited coverage for adverse medical events that the citizens here that you represent do not enjoy. No, you should not be allowed tonight to exempt yourselves from legislatively passed coverage limits. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next up, I got here Maggie Sitar. Maggie, is that who spoke? Maggie? Maggie, are you here? I don't see a Maggie. No Maggie. Jessica Poulos? Okay, I'll come back. Heather Smiley.
Hello, my name is Heather Smiley. I'm from Lake Orion. Okay, a rundown of what we're supposed to be talking about today. So the Oakland International Airport, I'm not sure why we are having rehab costs being accrued by the taxpayers of this county when it is run by the federal, or you guys are renting out to federal. There's some kind of talk about letting the feds use it for whatever they want to do. Let's see, we got the redaction, we covered that. I think my mom covered a lot of the stuff. Let's see, oh yeah, so like I was looking through and it looks like the fiscal year 2021 emergency threats, local health department, whatever, that was already done. I'm thinking it was like June 30th or August 24th, I'm saying, so I'm curious why we're going back to that issue, if possibly it was done incorrectly the first time, as we found a lot of things were done in committees, or if it just was an actual, changes that need to be made. So I'm just curious if people are doing this purposefully to try to pass their agenda without us having a voice, or if it was an actual accident, I'll let that fly. And then we've got some issues in regards to the developer. I heard about it in the Dem Caucus. Not sure why we have to reimburse a developer $850,000 for any kind of ground sampling sediment to get rid of pollution so they can develop it. I think that should be something that they pay for. So I don't want my money spent on that. Let's see. And then, of course, 15A that was removed. But yet I was able to talk to Gwen at the Dem Caucus in regards to it. So I'm hoping it's removed so they can look into it, because my daughter's ballot was never received. I've checked online. I've contacted Penny Schultz, who is my acting person for the elections. So hopefully that means that something's going to get taken care of. I think everyone's touched base on mask mandates, so I don't even need to deal with that. So yeah, we need to come together. Obviously, the people are speaking. Whether or not you guys hear us, I'm sure you do, but if you do not understand how important your jobs, your futures are reliant on listening to us, then I don't think that we'll see much of you much longer. So just please listen to the people, do your job, do what's right. I did want to make mention, though, the gentleman, he's walked away now, McGillary, in Dem Caucus, all about his masks. I know he was to vote against the reconciliation, which means keeping our kids in masks. But I did notice when he was doing his little speech that he had his mask off. So I'm glad the commissioners have an opportunity to choose, but our kids don't. And then there was one more thing. Oh, yes, the young lady, Nelson, who brought us in prayer. I do appreciate the inclusion and equality that was in the prayer. Mention God next time, maybe. I'm just throwing that out there. Have a great day.
Thank you. Is Jessica Poulos back? Hi, Jessica.
Of course,
Welcome.
I get called right when I go to the restroom. Hi, my name is Jessica Police. I am a resident of Birmingham, where my 3 children attend school, and I also work in the county. I am not pro-mask. I'm not anti-mask. I'm not pro-vax. I'm not anti-vax. I'm pro-choice, and I'm pro-freedom. I really wasn't sure what to say tonight until someone sent me this message today. You might have heard of this guy before, Floyd Mayweather, and you might have heard of this guy because he's really in the news right now, Kyrie Irvine, if I'm saying that right. He's the Brooklyn Nets basketball player who's refusing to go with the mandate for being jabbed because he would rather lose $17 million a day for games he's not playing than do something that affects his body, his choice. So Floyd Mayweather sent this message to him. I'm just going to quote it. America is the land of the free, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and supposedly the freedom to choose. Never be controlled by money. I respect you for having some integrity and being your own man. A free mind makes his own choices. An enslaved mind follows the crowd. Stand for something or fall for anything. One man can lead a revolution to stand up and fight for what's right. One choice, one word, one action can change the world. It's crazy how many people hate you for being a leader. I hope your actions encourage others to stand up and say, enough is enough, end quote. I've never been to a county meeting before, but I was inspired by that message to speak because I felt it was time to show up as one of your constituents, to stand up for my children, to stand up for our rights, not only as Americans, but as humans, because it's not pro-mask, it's not anti-mask, it's not pro-vax, it's not anti-vax. It's about our rights that just so happened with a mask mandate. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next up, we got Brittany Fialco, Katie Kern, and then followed by Jennifer Zagan. Brittany, are you here? Okay. Is Katie here? Katie Kern?
Go Katie. Go Katie.
There's Katie.
Hi, my name's Katie. I'm from Waterford. So I'm going to start with the fact that I don't have kids. I'm not a parent. I love kids. I'd love to have one someday, but I need them to grow up in a world where they have freedom and choice. These poor kids are begging you for it. These masks are depleting them from so many things. It's insane. But I'm here mostly for the mask choice, but also the fact that the vaccine choice is going to be coming to these kids. FDA approved it. We're never going to learn how safe the vaccine is until we start giving it. That's just the way it goes. So anybody that's willing to freely line their kids up to be the next experiment with Fauci, go for it if you want to make that horrible decision for your kids. But they're literally telling you that it's an experiment even in the approval. This is insane. Next to that, nobody knows what's really going on with the adults and their side effects because our tremendous physicians over here are fired and threatened for sharing that information. So the state of Michigan, Lara, the board certification are coming after these doctors, emailing them, I'm sure they'd share them with you, telling them that they're giving false and misleading information to their public by treating patients or saying this is related to the vaccine. This is a cancel culture. We should all be afraid of this. So we should put it on record somewhere. Kids are not dying of blood clots or myocarditis right now. Let's all remember that, because when this happens and these kids start showing up with these conditions, we need to remember that this was not present before we vaccinated these poor kids and experimented on them. It's terrifying. Also, I hope that you can find a hospital to take care of you because they're all completely short. So this message that hospitals are giving that they're at 98% capacity or whatever is because they closed 120 beds, they have a smaller area, and they don't have staff to fill them. Further to that, me and I don't know how many others are fired for not taking the vaccine while agency nurses are coming in to fill our positions who are not required to be vaccinated by their agency. This 100%, I could have proof of it as well. Absolutely crazy. But the thing is we really need to protect the kids. We're not here trying to be angry and yell at you and call you a horrible person. We need to come together. This is dividing everybody so much, but the kids and safety need to come first. So please remember all the censored information for what's going on with the adults right now, because it is happening. I have a Beaumont physician. I take care of her once a week. She is a mid-level provider there. She has her 6th adult patient after the 2nd dose of the Pfizer vaccine that died within 2 weeks. 6th one. What's super interesting is when she opens up these patients' charts to do auditing and research, because she's smart and she wants to stop this, magically their immunization tab is missing from their charts. This is falsifying medical information. This is not safe. So if you do this to these kids, where are we gonna do? Where are we gonna go? Just help us. And could you please put the vaccine on the agenda and the mandates on the agenda, because we're here talking about masks and that's great and I love it. But we've been here since what, February, Melissa?
Katie?
February, talking about the vaccine mandate. So if you guys could all help us, that'd be awesome. Thank you.
Brittany, are you here? Brittany Fialco?
Yeah, you got it right this time.
Hey, welcome, Brittany.
Thank you. My name is Brittany Fialco from Royal Oak. I'm a teacher and a mother of 2 young students in Oakland County. I have stood up here telling you how mask mandates impact my learners as well as myself and my own young children, and you don't care. You aren't listening to any of us, so we'll just continue to make our voices louder so others hear us and wake up. I'm here tonight asking to drop the mask mandate in Oakland County schools. I'm also here to tell you that you have no place to decide the medical care of our children regarding vaccines. Yesterday, Bill Mullian, the Oakland County Media and Communications Officer, put out a statement saying that the health department is collaborating with local school districts to determine how best to roll out clinics for pediatric doses. This week in the news, Beaumont, Ascension, and other health clinics have partnered with Michigan public school districts to diagnose and treat illness, perform physical exams, run lab tests, give immunizations, provide prescriptions, and much more. Other headlines this week from Louisiana, families have stated that their children, minors, have been illegally vaccinated without parental permission. Schools are defending themselves, stating that sending your child to school is implied consent. Let it be known, no one has my consent. We send our children to school for an education, not medical advice, procedures, or medical exams. It is not the role of the schools or the role of the government to determine medical decisions for our children. They belong to us, not you. The FDA's Dr. Rubin stated about the vaccine, we're never going to learn about how safe the vaccine is until we start giving it. That's just the way it goes. This is the same careless attitude this county has had about mask mandates, and I bet the same attitude they will have when they push the vaccine agenda. Based on your unlawful mask mandate, it is safe to assume that once a pediatric COVID vaccine completely rolls out, you will mandate that as a condition for children to attend school the same way you have with masks. Well, my answer is no. Neither my children or myself will be getting the vaccine to participate in public education or in society. I will withdraw my children from public education and resign myself, and I know many parents who will follow suit. I would like to make it perfectly clear that regardless of any mandate, I do not consent to anyone vaccinating my child or strapping a mask on their face. If my child is ever touched with a needle or given a COVID vaccine behind my back, I will burn down the gates of hell myself and come for every single person who has participated in its implementation. I will sue each of you and come for your bonds. No one has the authority over my children's health except for myself and my husband. There is a righteous anger arising in the hearts of all of these mothers, fathers, aunts, uncles, and grandparents, and we shout, not on our watch. The DOJ, FBI, FDA, CDC, Sleepy Joe, corrupt government, public schools, and you, Mr. Woodward, ought to know that we will stop at absolutely nothing to protect our children and ensure their future is safe. While you may swing the gavel and pretend you have power, our God has all the power, protects our children and the parents who fight on their behalf. Your judgment from him will not be done lightly. The Lord does not acquit the wicked. What you are doing to children is pure evil, and I promise you that we will not stand by and allow our children to be test subjects. Drop the mask mandate and heed the warning of angry parents. Do not mandate vaccines in our state or county.
Thank you. Jennifer Zagan. Jennifer? Is Jennifer? Oh, there she is. Welcome.
Hello. My name is Jennifer Zagan, and I'm a Novi resident and a mother of 3 sons, 2 that are still in school. I oppose any mask mandate and vaccine mandate. I'm not going to stand here and talk about the stacks of studies that demonstrate that masks are effective and harmful. I'm not going to stand and explain informed consent like I did at a meeting last month. I do not consent. I'm not going to stand and explain the federal law that's being broken like I did last month as well about masks or any emergency use vaccines. I'm not going to stand here and talk about the ingredients in this experimental gene therapy being called a vaccine and the death and injuries people are reporting that our county's health department seems all too eager to give to 5 to 11-year-olds as soon as they get the chance. You've heard this before, and we're past the point where facts matter. I oppose any mask mandate and vaccine mandate. Today, I stand up for my children and the children in this county. I stand for truth, I stand for freedom, and I stand for health. I am pro-health, and I am pro-freedom, and I'm pro-truth. It's much easier to divide us as a society by using the prefix anti, anti-mask, anti-vaccine, anti-science. We see through the tactics. I prefer pro, the prefix pro. I'm pro-health, I'm pro-child, I'm pro-unbiased science, I'm pro-double-blind placebo studies, pro-long-term safety studies, pro-liberty, pro-freedom, pro-life, pro-face, pro-parental rights. If people want to mask their children, that is their choice, and I am pro-Constitution. I oppose mask and vaccine mandates, and I do not consent. Where there is risk, there must be choice. Let the parents decide. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I believe that concludes those who signed up for the first public comment. We'll have a second public comment after conduction of today's business. So I'll declare the first public comment closed. It will move us to reports of standing committees. First up, we've got the...
Yeah, I signed up on that first public comment. I'm sorry.
Are you here to speak to something on the agenda?
Yes. Ask me in this question.
Okay. There's the last person, and then we're going to move on to the business. And then everyone else wants to speak on things that are not related to the business, starting with Melissa Williams. We will move forward.
More people want to speak. Hi, my name is Sharon Carter. I'm from Southfield. Thank you for your time.
Welcome.
I am a mother. I am a grandmother, but tonight I'm here speaking as a preschool teacher. I have a short story for you. No pictures. Usually I'm equipped with pictures, but no pictures tonight. One year I was teaching a relatively challenging class of 2 to 3-year-olds. One day my boss said he was looking into a curriculum change for the school. I loved the current curriculum, but I said, great. I closed my door, I taught with my heart. My kids loved me, I loved my kids, and it went super. So then my boss walks in and says, hi, I have a great new curriculum for you to follow. Well, I was a little bit ticked. This was my room, right? Wrong. He was my boss. I was under him. Conversation after conversation followed. While I was doing nothing wrong, I was there at his will, and I needed to follow his curriculum or be let go and find a job more in line with my ideas. I see a couple of similarities between this story and this Oakland County board. I voted you in. We, the people, voted you in. So you have a boss. Now, you may say, you've not been involved in this process, or I haven't seen you at a meeting before. The point is, I do have a say in the decisions of this board, because you do have a boss, and I, or we the people, are your boss. I would appreciate when we speak to you about important matters in our lives, you would respond and take our views into your consideration. Just like in my teacher's story, the boss came back, opened the door, and I was forced to remember that I was not ultimately in charge. I had to change, and I had to respond, because I was not in charge. So the light has been turned onto your activities in relationship to masking our school children. Masks have been shown to have negative effects within themselves in relation to a virus that has a recovery rate of 99.99%. So that may be your personal preference, but the lights are now on, and your boss, me, or us, are talking. So I say, talk to us, listen to us, be truthful about any shenanigans you are involved in to keep mask mandates in place in Oakland County. Remember, just like my boss could fire me if I did not align with his ideology, your bosses, that's us, that's me, can vote you out in 2022. You are all passionate. So if you need to, go find a different job that perfectly fits your protective mask bias, and let us be free. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. That was the last person that signed up. Okay, so we're going to continue. There's a second time for public comment. The last people signed up. We got to get through the agenda, and then it's very short. It's a very short.
Signed up. We'll give them the paper. Yeah, but we need to speak.
All right. So, pardon? Maybe because everyone was applauding. We're moving on to the consent agenda, and I swear to God, it's very quick. It's one quick vote. So public comments closed. We're moving on to reports of standing committee. The first item up is the consent agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda? Moved by Commissioner Gingell, seconded by Commissioner Markham. Any discussion on the consent agenda? Seeing none. Madam Clerk, can you please prompt the vote? Oh, we can't? Oh, we don't have the thing? Okay.
It's black. Green.
Okay, we're going to call it out. Madam Clerk, can we call the roll on the consent agenda?
Absolutely. On the consent agenda.
This is the reports understanding. For those who are watching, this is reports of standing committees. It's the consent agenda. It's the Economic Development Committee, the Finance Committee, the Legislative Affairs and Government Operations Committee, and the Public Health and Safety Committee. All those items through the... Yes, we are. Madam Clerk, please call the roll. Excuse me. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
On the consent agenda.
On the consent agenda.
Gershenson. Yes. Gingell.
Gavel them, Mr. Chair.
Hoffman.
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes.
Joliet. Yes. Kokendorfer.
Yes.
Kowal.
Yes.
Kuhn.
Yes.
Lubes.
Yes.
Markham.
Yes.
McGilvray.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Moss. I don't know if you're turning on your mic, but I can't hear you.
Yes.
Thank you. Nelson. Powell. Come back to Powell. Spiz.
Yes.
Weipert.
Yes.
Excuse me, it's really hard for me to hear. If you would please. Thank you. Woodward.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Thank you so much. We are doing business here. Thank you. Woodward.
Yes.
Cavell.
Yes.
Powell.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, you have 19 yeas, 0 nays.
A sufficient number voting in the affirmative. The consent agenda is adopted. That will move us to the regular agenda, and I'll call on the Economic Development and Infrastructure Chair, Commissioner Miller. I believe there's one item.
Thank you, Chair. I bring you miscellaneous resolution approving the provision of a brownfield plan for the, I think it's Secura Novi
yep.
City of Novi project.
Moved by Commissioner Miller, seconded by Commissioner Gingell. Any discussion on the adoption of the brownfield plan? Seeing none. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Okay. On the resolution, Commissioners Gingell. Hoffman.
Yes.
Jackson.
Bless you.
Yes. Joliet. Yes. And bless you to whoever sneezed. Kokendorfer.
Yes.
Kowal. Yes. Kuhn.
Yes.
Lubes.
Yes.
Markham.
Yes.
McGilvray.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Moss.
Yes.
Nelson. Powell.
Yes.
Spiz.
Yes.
Whitebert.
Yes.
Woodward.
Yes.
Cavell.
Yes.
Gershenson.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 19 yeas, 0 nays.
A sufficient number voting in the affirmative. The resolution is adopted. Commissioner Miller.
Thank you, Chair. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Commissioner. I will now recognize the Chair of the Finance Committee, Commissioner Gwen Markham. Commissioner Markham.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item 14A is the 2021 apportionment of local tax rates across Oakland County. I move that.
Moved by Commissioner Markham, seconded by Commissioner Cavell. Any discussion on the resolution? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll. Actually, we can prompt the vote on that one. We got the prompt up. This is item A under the Finance Committee regular agenda. The vote, yes for the affirmative or no against the resolution.
Mr. Chair, you have 18 yeas, 1 nay.
A sufficient number voting in the affirmative. The resolution is adopted. Commissioner Markham.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item 14B, AT&T Corporation, it's an extension of an existing contract as we are moving into our new support of the radio system across Oakland County. And I move this resolution.
Moved by Commissioner Markham, seconded by Commissioner Spiz. Any discussion on the resolution? Seeing no discussion on the resolution, Madam Clerk, can we prompt the vote? This is item B, the contract of IT related to the AT&T Corporation.
Mr. Chair, you have 18 yeas, 0 nays, 1 abstention.
Sufficient number voting in the affirmative. The resolution is adopted. Commissioner Markham.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That concludes the report of the Finance Committee.
Thank you, Commissioner. There's no business under the Legislative Affairs and Government Operations Committee. I'll move us to Public Health and Safety Committee. I recognize the Chair, Commissioner Penny Lubes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have one item, a miscellaneous resolution to create 1 full-time judicial staff attorney position that I so move.
Moved by Commissioner Lubes, seconded by Commissioner McGilvray. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please prompt the vote. Actually, you can just call it. Let the record show that Commissioner Lubes votes yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 18 yeas, 1 nay.
Sufficient number voted in the affirmative. The resolution is adopted. Commissioner Lubes.
There is no other report from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Lubes. This will move to reports of special committees. There is none. This will bring it to special orders of business, and I believe there's a motion to discharge, and I will recognize Commissioner Kokendorfer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In light of a request that will be made under new business, I'd like to postpone this until the next board meeting.
Oh, of course. Okay. Postponed to the next board meeting. This will bring us to unfinished business. There is none. And under new and miscellaneous business, I will start with Commissioner Moss.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to introduce a resolution to request the Oakland County Health Department rescind the mask mandate for students and staff in a school setting. And I'd like to request suspension of the board rules.
A motion by Commissioner Moss to suspend the board rules, seconded by Commissioner Gingell. This is not a debatable motion. Prompt the vote on suspending the rules. I'm going to ask politely that the outbursts stop while the commission's in session.
Mr. Chair, you have 9 yeas, 10 nays.
An insufficient number of commissioners voting in the affirmative. The motion to suspend the rules is suspended. And the resolutions refer. The resolution says, ma'am. The resolution will be referred to the Pandemic Ad Hoc Committee. Thank you. All right, we're moving on to the next one.
Mr. Chair, I do request referring my resolution to the Public Health and Safety Committee.
The resolution will be referred to the Pandemic Ad Hoc Committee. Moving on to the resolution, support protecting seniors through immunization. I'll call on Commissioner Nelson. Commissioner Nelson refers the resolution to support of the Protecting Seniors Through Immunization Act. All in favor? Refer to the Legislative Affairs and Government Committees without objection. Next item, I'll call on Commissioner Cavell. The Commissioner Cavell has a resolution urging state legislature to amend the Michigan No-Fault Auto Insurance Reform Act to address a reimbursement cap for auto accident victims. And I believe you'll refer that to the Legislative Affairs and Government Operations Committee.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay, that'll bring us to announcements. Further to announcements? There are no announcements. And Commissioner Gingell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have another item, new business, under new business, which will be a memorandum.
Okay, deputies, will you please remove the woman that's disrupting these proceedings?
If I can just have a minute, please. I do have another item under new business. It is a memorandum from the Minority Caucus Chair, Michael Spiz, and myself, Michael Gingell, the Minority Caucus Chair, on behalf of the Minority Caucus, to Chairman Woodward regarding the elimination of the county mask mandate. And I'll just read the memo that says...
No, Commissioner Gingell, what is your motion?
I'm going to read the memo.
Commissioner Gingell, you are out of order.
I'm going to read the memo, which will then submit as a matter of record.
What is the motion, Commissioner Gingell?
I'm going to read the memo.
Commissioner Gingell, what is the motion?
There's not a motion. It's a matter of new business, and it's a memo that we're submitting.
Because over
the course of the past several weeks.
Commissioner Gingell, you are out of order.
Over the course of the past several weeks.
We'll move to announcements.
No,
there are no announcements.
Mr. Chair, point of order. Point of order. Point of order. The minority caucus has actually obtained an outside law firm that has. Point of order. I'm going to submit the memo as a part of the record.
Thank you, Commissioner Ginjo.
But the minority caucus has obtained an outside law firm that believes the emergency order.
We stand at ease.
Is legal. And that the health department did not have the authority to issue the order.
You child!
Therefore, we are requesting a written opinion from Oakland County Corporation Council on the legality of Emergency Order 2021-1 and the Health Department's legal authority to issue such order as a result of the minority caucus obtaining an outside law firm who has issued an opinion that the order is not a legal action and that the Health Department did not have the authority to issue the order.
We're going to resume and get to the second public comment. So take a couple seconds. Thank you, everybody. All right, we're going to move on to the second public comment of the evening. This is an opportunity for any member of the public to speak on any topic that wasn't on the agenda and to address this board. And we ask you to keep your comments to 3 minutes, the same rules of everything. We want everyone afforded the same respect and opportunity to be heard this evening. I'm going to start with Melissa Williams, and then, thank you. I was going to ask for the next list. So, Melissa, welcome.
Thank you. My name is Melissa Williams. I'm from West Bloomfield. And I was going to address something that was on the agenda but was taken off. It's the supporting the elections process and confidence in the November 3rd, 2020 election results. And I'm going to talk about it anyway because maybe you can do some research before next meeting. I have a lot to say about this. I'm going to keep it to 3 minutes. But a lot of confidence comes with eyewitness testimony. And I have a lot of really loyal patriot friends who serve our country, serve our county, serve our cities. I'm an election inspector. My husband and I worked the 2020 election. I don't know if any of you all worked the 2020 election, but it was a serious situation. Back in August, during the primary, my husband and I worked that election as absentee ballot inspectors. And we had very specific rules and ways we needed to inspect the ballots. We had to send things to adjudication. We had to have very explicit notes on why things had to be adjudicated in the other room. And the 2020 election, all those rules went out the door. We weren't allowed to write one thing down about a ballot that had, a stray pen mark or something. We weren't allowed to say anything about it. No documentation at all. I was there for 17 hours, and I was not allowed to document one absentee ballot that needed adjudication. Not a single edit that needed to be done or why it was being spit out by the machine. I was prohibited because Jocelyn Benson put that rule in place before the election. So I just want that noted. My friends at the TCF Center, these are good people. They live in this community. They're leaders in this community. They watched piles of thousands of ballots be submitted and resubmitted over 4 times. That's at the TCF Center. One of them stayed through the night and watched the ballot dump pull in the back door and bring in thousands and thousands of ballots after they called the polls. Let's see, what else? Oh, right now there's canvassing going on. And there's canvassing going on with notaries because people are finding that when they go to a house to canvass it, they'll say, hello, did you vote in the 2020 election? Yes, I voted in person. Oh, did you know that you actually had an absentee ballot voting for this candidate when they actually went in person and voted for another candidate? This is happening so often that they're starting to bring a notary because they actually have to have a certified affidavit written. These people are saying, I want an affidavit for my vote because their vote wasn't counted. So, a lot of people have a lot of passionate views about the 2020 election, but I've actually got people on the inside that I'm very close to. These are parents that are giving their time and energy and time with their kids away to look into the 2020 election. Nothing about the 2020 election was free and fair.
Thank you, Melissa. Thanks. Next up, we got Desiree Dragan, followed by Catherine Kennedy. Is Desiree here? I guess not. Catherine Kennedy.
I think she said my name right.
Did you say Desiree?
I'm not sure.
Is it Desiree Dragan?
Oh, she actually left because she felt too intimidated to speak tonight. So.
Okay. Catherine Kennedy. Catherine Kennedy, you're next.
Okay. My name was after Melissa's. Well, they can go. They were here.
No, I'm at Catherine Kennedy. I'm at Catherine Kennedy. I am going in the order of this list right here. Melissa Williams signed up on the other list. She wanted to speak on an agenda that wasn't on there, and I said that I'd make her first this time, and that's what we did to allow everyone to speak. Catherine Kennedy.
Thank you, Commissioners. Catherine Kennedy from Lake Orion. Just the frustration that the citizens feel because of the way you run the meetings. It's not okay. You are supposed to represent the entire county, just not the partisan type that agrees with you. The proposals that are done in this board are kind of like following exactly the Biden misguided maneuvers. We have so many unconstitutional things already going on. The minority SBA, the SCOTUS already ruled it unconstitutional. We already had it implemented before that. Did that get reversed? The mask mandate, everybody's been talking about that. But just the basic disrespect that you show the citizens. So many of the people have not even turned around to even listen to any of the citizens that are here spending their time because they feel it's important. And in the United States, we are supposed to have free speech for everyone. And when it gets shut down, then people get upset. And that's what you're seeing here. People are getting upset because in our country, this history will frame this moment as socialism attempt to take over our country. No mistake. That is what's going on here. There's so many things that are all about the money, but they aren't taking into account the rights under our Constitution. So much of this spending that's being done violates our Constitution flat out. There's only two things the government is allowed to tax us for: defense and common welfare for the people. The citizens, not the people that we're bringing in from the southern border to boost our vote counts that we don't even realize could be MS-13 gang members. Do you realize 1.7 million illegal encounters have happened at the southern border? That's a record number. Do you know how many they've released into our country already that they've acknowledged? 160,000 of them. And did you know more than 30,000 of those were paroled out? That means they're criminals. Why are we expunging criminals? Why are we inviting criminals into our communities? And our president so foolishly even made fraud no longer a deportable offense. Fraud of all things. It's so illogical. I don't know if he's incapacitated or why this is so anti-American. Everything that's been done so far this year is anti-American. I don't understand how anybody who's American can stand for that. Everybody who has taken an oath of office in any level of government is required to uphold our Constitution. Why is it so hard for people to uphold our Constitution? It is so critical that we do, because we do not want to be like the socialist nations of all the rest of the areas in the globe that have failed.
Thank you, Ms. Kennedy. Next up, I got Sandra Carolyn, followed by Gerald Riley, then Susan Tompkins. I called Sandra Carolyn again. Then it will be Gerald Riley, followed by Susan Tompkins.
Hi. I'm so disappointed at the refusal to hear your taxpayers, parents, professionals, and a medical doctor here tonight. I followed the Arizona election forensic audit, and I submitted an affidavit to Lansing along with about 10,000 other citizens. Ignored. Listen carefully to these talking points. True and fair. Safe and effective. Not. It's late, so I'll be brief. Passing your resolution in defiance of PA 152 of 2011, along with almost 24 other agenda items, it's just plain lazy. But you've raised your amounts so that your medical bills can be covered. So please don't pass this stupid vaccine mandate when we don't have that same ability to raise our limit.
Thank you, Sandra. Gerald Riley, followed by Susan Tompkins.
Good evening. My name is Gerald Riley. I'm from Waterford. First of all, begin to say I agree with Melissa Williams about the 2020 election. It was definitely not true and not fair at all. A quick side note regarding the masks that we had talked about earlier. I drive a school bus in this county, and I see these kids get on the bus in fear and in shame if they don't have a mask. Just this morning, a second grader said to another student, yelled at the top of her lungs, "Put your mask on or else we're all going to get sick." I see kids get on my school bus, forget a mask, they pull their hair over their face or something. The shame that they have getting on the bus because they don't have a mask. I tell you, it rips my heart out. Please, unmask our children. Where I'm coming from right now is, I'm just going to cut to the chase, Mr. Woodward. I'm very, very concerned about how you have dismissed months of people talking to you, pleading with you, scientific evidence about the vaccines, and we've asked you to help us with any medical discrimination. And it all comes down to this one phrase you said, move on. You know, I'm going to be campaigning for you. I'm going to be campaigning for you that you're showing us what you believe. You believe in the vaccines for everybody. You believe in masking children. Actually, you're lockstep with the whole Democratic Marxist agenda. I am absolutely stunned how this is happening. And I'm really concerned because the bigger picture is one world order, one world government. This is where we're headed. And even more than that, it's actually, if you ever read the book of Revelation, we're talking about the Antichrist, a demonic power to take over this world. Mr. Woodward, you are aligning to that. I'm concerned for your soul. You are aligning with a demonic activity. Now, you may laugh and smirk under that mask, but you have been warned. Woe to those who call good evil and evil good. That's what you're doing. Please, please listen to the people.
Thank you, Mr. Riley. Susan Tompkins. And then Steven Sioma, followed by Tasha. Tasha, I'm sorry, I always forget your name. I can't read the last name. So, Tasha, but Susan Tompkins.
So, hi, I'm Susan Tompkins from Troy. My plan was to speak on masks, and the agenda, these were switched, and so I wasn't clear to me if it was agenda or not agenda. But I have something else to talk about in addition to that. But I'll start with the fact that I'm a teacher. I've spoke here before, and I'm a literacy interventionist like the other lady that talked earlier, and it's interesting to me that teachers keep coming in. I keep hearing from teacher after teacher, and I had never been to one of these meetings until this summer. And this is so hard on our children, the protocols being put in place in schools and their paradigm that they're living day after day, and I'm living, it's a very weird reality. And I don't understand why people are so afraid right now that they need to have a mask on. That confuses me. We all know what the recovery rate is if you're infected with COVID. Healthy people especially, unless you're obese or you have a health problem, your chance of dying from COVID is so slim, it's almost unmeasurable. And if you're not healthy and you're taking heart medication or you have diabetes, get healthy. Take the ice cream out of the grocery cart, start exercising, get fresh air. Don't tell me that I have to wear a mask or these little 4-year-olds have to wear masks to protect people who make bad choices in their lives. They smoke cigarettes, they don't get fresh air, they're just unhealthy. Why should kids suffer for those people? That is very confusing to me. I don't wish ill health on anyone, but people are wishing ill health on me. And it's not that I can't breathe in a mask, because I can breathe in a mask as a teacher. It's all about the quality of the air I'm breathing. Obviously, when I'm breathing through a mask that is made with who knows what, and that's what I'm taking into my lungs for 7 hours a day, 5 days a week, it makes me miserable. And looking at these little kids and how we're abusing them. And I hear teachers yelling, "Get that mask over your nose." Have we forgotten that, maybe I'm missing something, but I thought the masks were supposed to stop spit. We all know they don't stop the virus that's aerosolized, right? That's common sense at this point. We're 19, 20 months into this. It's about the spit. So why do we need the mask over our nose? Do you not read what I read? Anybody? I'm just really boggled by the fact that we're still standing by everyone having to wear a mask and you're making kids wear masks. And I know it's not exactly your decision, but I know that this body of commissioners has a lot of influence and could definitely change things. I don't understand the exact processes in place for that, but I know you could make a change. I feel confident of that. So hearing us come here month after month and talk to you about this and not being willing to make changes just confuses me, and I hope that you will decide to listen to us, the Oakland County residents, and get rid of the mask mandates.
Thank you. Stephen Sioma, followed by Tasha, I think, Scherzen. Is, Stephen, are you still here? Who? Stephen Sioma? I mean, he spoke earlier. Okay, I must move on. Tasha?
Go, Tasha.
Welcome back. Tasha Shergan from Clarkston. Wearing a mask is equivalent to trying to use a chain link fence to stop a mosquito. They just don't work. We had my OSHA experts come in. They explained it. I'm personally inviting all of you to an event I'm hosting on November 20th in West Bloomfield. It's at 9:30 in the morning. I have a cellular and microbiologist, Dr. Christina Parks. She's testified in Lansing for our Senate. I've got Tammy Clark and Kristen Megan Kelly. They're OSHA experts. So I'm personally inviting each and every one of you. I will send you an email. I'd like to have each commissioner there as my guest. And I'd love for you to hear the truth about COVID. That's actually what the event's called, The Truth About COVID. I'd love for you guys to come and attend. It's, again, Saturday, November 20th, 9:30 till 12:30 at Metro Detroit Christian Church in West Bloomfield. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we got Tammy Schroeder, followed by Laura Gallardi. Tammy Schroeder? Did Tammy leave? Laura? Welcome.
Okay, good evening. I have a handout. I didn't know that I had to have those sent earlier, but please help yourself. Good evening. My name is Laura Gagliardi. I'm a resident of White Lake. I am a small business, woman-owned small business owner. And I have a technical field, and I employ all women. So I have a first of a kind in Michigan. I may be the first of a kind business in the country. I'm also a federal contractor. I have provided services for 7 federal departments, including the National Institutes of Health. I'm currently under contract with the federal government, and I'm here to talk about Executive Order 14042. And this is a copy of the contract modification that I received. These are the documents that go with it. We all know about this as a vaccine mandate. But that's not what this is. This would be really easy for me to sign. All of my people are vaccinated. Every one of my people told me not to sign this. Let me tell you why. I've spent a lot of time on the phone with a lawyer. And it has to do with 2 words that us non-lawyers easily miss. I know several other contractors that signed this not understanding what these 2 words meant. These 2 words are as amended. That means that when you sign this, you have a contractual obligation to follow the task force that's put in place and comply with all their future unknown, unestablished requirements. It's an open-ended contract. I asked my lawyer, so what does that mean? Does that mean that if one of my people has a religious exemption, that if this task force then in the future 3 weeks from now says we're no longer accepting that, does that apply? Yes. Does that mean if that group decides that I have to cut off my right hand, I have a contractual obligation to do so? Yes. If that task force says so, I also have a contractual obligation to see that all my employees cut off their right hand. Not just my employees, all my contractors. I have subcontractors. I have an engineering firm that works for me with 6,000 employees, yet only 5 of them work on my project. I'm responsible for being the Stasi police and making sure all 6,000 of those contractors' people have cut off their right hand. This is an open-ended, scary, dark contract. This should wake up every one of us, because this is, if I can walk away from this because my employees, I'm walking away from 60 to 70% of my revenue. I will get blacklisted. I will never get another government contract, and I'm walking. If I can do that, because this is that important, you Democrats, Republicans, put down your flags, work together, and we have to start addressing this with our community.
Thank you. Is Maggie Sitar here? I think Maggie left earlier. Is Maggie, are you here? Maggie Sitar? I got Deanna Jamil again. Is Deanna, are you still here? Do not see Deanna. Christina? Dura? Dura, yes, MB Dura, yes. Christina Dura.
Good evening. 9:30, huh? This is my first Oakland County Board Commission meeting because last time I was stuck outside because you wouldn't let us in. I'm a mother of 5. I have 5 kids, age 4.5 to 12.5. They go to Walled Lake schools. They're stuck wearing masks. My oldest son has ADHD. Instead of learning, they're being, cursed or crucified for not having their mask on. But you know what? I echo everybody here. We are our own children's parents. I'm not here to even talk about masks. I'm here to talk about why my taxpayer money is paying for critical race theory in the school, or as they like to call it, DEI. Apparently, on October 19th, I believe it is, you guys had a whole board get together, and let me see the little girl's name. She's a young girl. Robin Carter Cooper. She got up there and was telling everybody how great this is. We're going to be equality, this, that, and the other thing. Well, what does she do? She introduces a board. So definitely a different kind of board, okay? Yeah, it was all different kind of people, trans people, Black Lives Matter, this, that, and the other thing. Saw no Christians, saw no Jews. I think they had an Arabic on them. You know what I teach my children? We're one nation under God. We are in God's image. So when I look at you, I think I see Jesus. Actually, I know I see Jesus, okay? When I look at you, you're gorgeous. You're a beautiful woman. When my little girl is in school with her little friends, I don't care if they're black, white, Jewish, Muslim, they look at their little friend. They don't look at their color. So I am not going to teach my children, and I am not going to pay for anymore. So we better figure out a game plan, because I'm going to have to send my kids to a Christian or Catholic or whatever school that is not going to make them read books like, oh, I don't know, stamped, okay? This is in my kids' classroom. Racism, anti-racism, and you. They want them to be anarchists. I want my kids to be fighters for God. I want to be on this country, and I want to fight for our freedom, because if we don't fight for our freedom, I'm going to tell you something, Mr. Woodward. I made dinner tonight. I can come for your job, too. So have a great night. You guys be good, and God bless you all.
Thank you. Next up, we got Christy Pepper, followed by Ryan Johnson, and then Shayna Levin.
Good evening. My name is Christy Pepper. I'm from Beverly Hills, Michigan. Did you know the following countries have no mask mandates for children? The UK, Denmark, Sweden, Norway, Iceland for children under 13, and if you're over 13, you only wear them when you're outside of the classroom, and Finland has no mask mandates for anyone under 13. Coming back across the pond, Florida has no mask mandates. Even closer than that, Macomb County has no mask mandates. Are these places where children are dropping like flies? Are they filling up hospitals? Absolutely not, because I guarantee you that if they were, that is all we'd be hearing about. Are these places somehow much more irresponsible than we are in Oakland County? Do we have a special kind of children in Oakland County that are super spreaders that are not in these other places? I don't think so. You may indicate that the power is not in your hands to remove these mandates. However, as Leanne Stafford's boss, have you ever bothered to ask her under what emergency power she has created these mandates? What data did she use to create these mandates? When will it not be an emergency anymore? I would think that it would be in all of your best interest to find that out, because then maybe we would stop coming to your meetings and yelling. Are we comparing our data to Macomb County? If not, why? Kids can't get this time back. I have a first grader who has never been to school without a mask. I have a daughter who just started middle school last year. She doesn't know half the kids in her class wouldn't recognize them outside of school because their faces are covered all the time. I have a high school daughter who has also never seen the vast majority of the kids that she wanders the hall with. They can't get this time back, and you're taking it away. And for what? Meanwhile, the majority of politicians have been spotted out without their masks, and good for them. I'm completely fine with that. However, I just have a hard time buying this idea that we're so fearful for our children when our actions don't speak the same language. It's not even about the hypocrisy of it. It's just the fact that if you really believed there was a true danger and that our children were in such danger, then you wouldn't behave that way. We've had enough of our kids being caught in the crosshairs of this political stupidity. We've had more than enough data and evidence to support that having the choice makes sense. We're not going to go away until this happens. And on a lighter note, go green.
Go white. Ryan Johnson.
So I think at this point we all know that the mask mandate's illegal, has been from the beginning. I'm very, very concerned that communication this week coming out from the health departments now planning on putting pediatric nurses in the schools for the purpose of jabbing the 5 to 11-year-olds. Never mind the insane amount of data coming out about the myocarditis, and that's once happened as an injury that never really goes away. How many people are you intending to kill with this, by the way? That's a serious question, by the way. So, last time I was up here, I told you about your oaths of office. I'm a veteran. I took an oath to the Constitution. I remember what that is. You all took an oath to support the Constitution as well. I don't know if you remember what that is, but it's very important. And as public officials, in order to have that oath, in order to have these positions as elected officials, you had to swear an oath to the Michigan Constitution and the U.S. Constitution. And you are insured under that oath. It's called a surety bond. Maybe it's called a performance bond, maybe it's called a blanket bond, but the county has a bond ensuring your compliance with our Constitution. You are hopelessly out of compliance right now. So here's the way it's going to work. I am going to get all the information necessary to file complaints against your bonds. Depending on the nature of your insurance, you may pay for the cost of the investigations yourself. You may pay for the claims. I mean, the bond company will pay out first and then come ask for reimbursement from you later. By the time hundreds of us file those claims, you're not going to have a penny to your names. Unless you file bankruptcy, maybe you'll get to keep the house and $10,000. Once you're unbonded, because the bond company won't keep you on board once you've cost them $1 bazillion in claims. Once you're unbonded and unbondable, you can't have a public position anymore. So I hope everybody on this side of the room at least, and anybody on this side that maybe even remotely thinks they're about supporting this unconstitutional madness, is done with their career in politics. Because once you're unbonded, you can't have another one. You can't have another position. So everybody, I hope that everybody behind me is listening to this. It's called surety bonds. We're all going to file against these people. We don't need to unelect them. We don't need to have them outvoted in the next election. They won't be able to have a public position after this.
Thank you, sir. Shanae Levin, and then Katie Kernigan. Actually, it was Shayna. Welcome.
Hi, thanks. I'm Shane 11. So I was going to stand up here tonight and thank Chuck Moss for introducing a resolution, but you guys silenced him. And I was going to thank a whole bunch of people. I was going to thank Mike Gingell for trying to speak up. I was going to thank Bob Hoffman for trying to maintain civility in this room. I was going to thank a lot of people who have put in work. But I was like, I can't do that because you guys haven't even heard what I'm thanking them for because you won't let them talk. What I don't understand is how all of you, and I'm definitely singling you out because these people seem to be on the right side of history, how all of you can sit there and listen, or not,
Shana,
Gwen,
please direct your
Ms.
comments.
Powell, and hear all of this stuff that everybody is saying and somehow just ignore it. I have to believe that in your chests you have hearts and you have souls. And at the end of your lives, you're going to be judged by somebody, whoever you believe in. How do you sleep at night just ignoring all of this? Do you somehow believe that you have some special science that we don't have access to that somehow supports the fact that you don't support us? That you sit there in your masks, making yourselves think that you actually believe in them when the pictures you post on Facebook and Twitter say otherwise. That we're all the crazy ones. I don't see anybody standing up here in support of the craziness that you guys are perpetuating. I have to wonder how you were elected if you are all clinically insane, because nothing you're doing makes any sense. What are you gaining from this? Are you getting something off the top of every contract? Are you getting notoriety? Are you going to take over for Mr. Woodward when he takes over for Mr. Coulter and Mr. Coulter becomes our next governor? Because I'm telling you that's not going to happen. All you guys are getting is a place in history that you don't want. Why would you want to be remembered as the person who turns their back on everybody when they're speaking? Why would you want to be remembered as the person who played on her phone the entire meeting? What is so important? I don't understand. There are parents out here who just want to protect their children. If you think this is about masks, you're not paying attention. Within the next month, 2 months, 90 days, whatever, this will be about vaccine mandates on our children. Mandating our children become part of the world's biggest science experiment. Are you going to be okay with that? Are you going to sleep okay at night? Wake up. What is wrong with you guys? Like, that's all. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Shana. Katie Kern, followed by Jeannie Durham, and then Ray Blake. Welcome back, Katie.
Hi, thanks. I'm Katie. I'm from Waterford. So to touch back a little bit, I have a little 10-year-old nephew, and that was not a lie about teachers coming up to him to pull his mask up back onto his face. In fact, his little nose is cut. I'll bring pictures for you next time so you can see from the abrasion of rubbing and rubbing, which is why he's pulling it down. He has no choice but to have this open wound on his face. Next to that, I have another cute little 7-year-old family member who never got COVID till she went back to school with her mask on. Isn't that funny, right? This mask doesn't do anything. And her biggest complaint was that she couldn't play with her friends, right? So everything's fine, couldn't play with her friends. Next to that, we're still using the recalled test. We're using the recalled PCR test that cannot tell the difference between COVID and the flu. We used it before, so those numbers were never accurate during the pandemic. We are not in a pandemic, and the numbers are still not accurate. I'd love for somebody to prove to us here in Oakland County that we are in an emergency. I'm not sure how we can continue to have emergency use orders when we're not in a state of emergency, so I would really appreciate if somebody could point me in the direction to show me where the emergency is. Next to that, this is an email from Henry Ford talking about how short-staffed they are in most of their locations. So in Jackson, they're down 16 RNs, and this is just for one shift. 16 RNs, 19 nurse assistants, 5 sitter requests. So most likely those patients who needed a sitter to sit and make sure that they were safe and they didn't hurt themselves ended up in restraints. I really hope that that's not your loved one or family member.
because they're going to go down quick. Mr. Woodward, I'm not sure if you're paying attention, but I hope that's not your family member either, because I would never see somebody tied down to a bed. I don't know if you guys have ever worked in healthcare, but it's pretty terrible to do to somebody. So these are real things. Henry Ford's lost over 5,000 employees. They're not going to tell you that, but they have. They closed their dermatology division because they can't find physicians to work for them. I wonder why nobody wants to work for the very first and proud hospital system to enforce these mandates. I even it's pretty funny because they must have not taken me off their email list, but Henry Ford just sent me an email. I'm reaching out to you because I see you previously worked for Henry Ford. Reminder, they terminated my employment for speaking up and refusing the mandate. Since you've left, our compensation team has reviewed pay for registered nurses, and our organization, as a result, we have increased pay rates. We are offering a sign-on bonus of $10,000 for many RNs, as well as an additional $2,000 for a night shift. If you'd be interested in hearing more, please let me know. This is the same person who hired me for my educator role, for which I was terminated for refusing the mandate. So if you're not desperate, I don't know why you'd be asking me, that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But in the end, we just need protection. I know we're getting rowdy. I know people are frustrated. I know that's not the best way to get the message across. If you were more receptive, made eye contact with your people talking, paid attention, where we could see that something was done, we wouldn't be so angry. So please help us.
Thank you. Jeannie Durham, followed by Ray Blake. Jeannie, are you here?
I thought I was next.
Nope. Got it. Jeannie's next. Is Jeannie here? It looks like Jeannie's not here. So Ray, you are next.
Okay. Okay, Ray Blake from Oxford. Chairman Woodward, over the course of the past several weeks since the Oakland County Health Department implemented the mandatory mask order, Emergency Order 2021-1, there has been a significant amount of discourse and disagreement over the legality of that order. As a result, the minority caucus obtained an outside law firm to assess the items. The opinion that was provided from the outside firm concluded that the Emergency Order 2021-1 is not a legal action, and that the Health Department did not have the authority to issue the emergency order. Therefore, the minority caucus is requesting that you ask for a written opinion from Oakland County Corporation Council on the legality of Emergency Order 2021-1 and the Health Department's legal authority to issue such an order. Thank you in advance for this matter. If you have any questions, or if you'd like to discuss it, please talk to your people in this room. That was what you wouldn't let be read. I think that's disgusting. You are so hung up with power that you will not let your own commissioners voice their concerns. That is absolutely wrong. And let me go on here. I wasn't planning on talking tonight, but the young lady that was up a little while ago, who was a federal contractor and got the notice that if she didn't make all her people get vaccinated, that she was going to be cut off, and she's not doing that. Well, I'm here to tell you, that's just the beginning. I'm not a federal contractor. I own a small business with 15 people. And I just got a letter today, an email, from one of my customers who is a federal contractor, and now I too have to have all my people vaccinated. And I can guarantee you that if I were to sign that, the next step would be then I'd have to have all my suppliers do the same thing. This is about control. This is about nothing more than control. They don't want people to have any rights. And we have got to stop this. And I call especially on the Democratic Party to stop this. It is not right. That is not what should be going on in this country. It is anti-American, very much so. And we've got to put an end to it. It's wrong. And it's got to start here, at the local level. In the next election, we've got to make sure it's a legitimate one. And I hope there'll be a lot of people that are going to be signing up to be poll watchers and all that, and speak up. We've got to put an end to this. It's wrong. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, sir. Next up, I just have Christy written down from Orchard Lake. Christy from Orchard Lake? Welcome, Christy.
Master Commissioner, we've been here for weeks, months. This has been going on for 20 months, I believe we're into now. We've all told you our stories. We've had experts up here and tell you why your masks are worthless. We've been up here saying this isn't a pandemic. Really, that's not the problem. We've been wondering why you won't bring this topic to discussion, why you're so against it. And I've been thinking, follow the money. It's probably the money. At what point in your career did you sell your soul for that? But I'm starting to think, really, this isn't about money. What kind of sick, sadistic monsters would force children, to do something to their body that they are not comfortable with? What kind of a monster would not listen to an innocent child's needs when they're crying because they can't breathe? When they have rashes all over their face from their mask because they're filthy? What kind of sadistic person would do that? It's almost rapey, for lack of better wording. I really hope and pray that this isn't the slippery slope narrative that you people are setting up by not discussing this, because these are young children with impressionable minds. If we start telling them right now that what you're feeling by not wearing a mask is wrong, what's going to happen when the adult tries to take advantage of them later on? We're going to just have them we're going to dismiss their feelings now? This isn't about helping anybody. This isn't about keeping somebody healthy. This is about control. This is about forcing somebody to do something against their will. This is not tolerant. I'm not going to tolerate this anymore. You've heard all of our stories. The fact that you won't let this discussion come to the floor just proves to me just how sick and sadistic you are, and that you really have no problem abusing children, or us for that matter. I am not a child. I'm not going to stand here and deal with it anymore. I hope all of you decide to get involved in your local governments, because this is what happens when people like him are voted in. But you know what? I'm thinking about what they said earlier. Were you really voted in? Is that why you're not talking about this? You don't have anything to lose. I think it's probably time for an audit and for whatever was done in the darkness to be brought to the light.
All right. Thank you, Christy. Moving on, I've got Kyle. Is it Opolinsky? Opolinsky. Yes, Kyle. And then I got Haywood Jablomi. Oh, haha, got it. Funny. Justin Winkleman followed after that.
Thank you for reading that.
Really mature. All right. Kyle, the floor is yours.
Okay, my name's Kyle Polinsky. I'm from South Lyon. One thing that I just want to say is it's an old saying that when a man tries to create one problem and fix it, he actually creates two more. You guys trying to say that you're here to protect the kids. CDC just posted yesterday in the state of Michigan, only 11 children under the age of 17 have died in 20 months. You're trying to say that you're going to mask them and fix the problem, but when you're trying to create that problem, Mr. Woodward, I'm talking to you, please. You're going to go ahead and you're going to create two more. And we all know it's going to be the mask mandates. Now, I got cut off earlier from speaking, and I've been trying to communicate with many of you, Mr. Woodward in particular. I've asked for emails. I've had my discussions brought up in bullet points, and you refuse to respond to me because you believe that I believe in the big lie. No, sir. That's not the only point that I've brought to you on the past couple of weeks. I've asked you on multiple different avenues of things that I want to get brought to discussions. The first and foremost being on this camera, there's 79 people that were in this room. You guys fail to listen to anyone in this community. You disable comments on YouTube so that we, as citizens, are not allowed to talk to another. Are you kidding me? You need to disable that now. You don't want to listen to us. You won't let us talk. Yet, at the same time, you're trying to have control. It's all about control. So going on to the mask mandate, I'm going to say this. Everyone spoke on it, but this is the real reason. Where are you spending the money that the federal government gave to you? That's what I want to know. Because here's the issue. I work in the automotive industry. This is the Motor City capital of the world. We have the greatest assets and quality control measures here in this state. Yet, I have not seen one quality control measure in any of these schools. I've gone to 6 automotive plants in 3 states since August of 2020. I will tell you, we have training on these people that are new hires at every one of these automotive plants. And we go ahead and try to have protocol procedures of their mask requirements. I sat 12 hours a day for an entire week at a welding cell. I had a white mask on. We had a protocol that we had to change our mask every hour because our mask was black. Now, I'm an adult that is wearing that and changing that because I am trying to protect myself. Yet, you are not putting a quality control measure on the children in our schools, and you want to go ahead and state that one child has to wear the same mask for 8 hours a day? And where's the money that's going to go ahead and put the quality control measures that's going to state that when this child's done with their first hour, they need to swap their mask? It is not about the mask. It's about the money that you guys are supporting. The last thing that I'm going to say is the lack of communication from this board. There's 79 people in this room. If I raise my hand right now, I guarantee you there's many of them that you guys are failing to respond to. I yield.
Thank you, sir. Next up, we got Justin Winkleman.
Justin Winkleman, Bloomfield Township. So my first board meeting was a couple weeks ago, and with all due respect, Mr. Chair, you ran a circus here. I came back to give you another chance to see maybe you just had an off night. You know, everyone's human in this room. You're running a circus, and it's unfortunate. And that relies on you, but falls on you as the chair. You lack basic decorum on how to run a meeting. You don't give people the time of day. I think you lack maturity as an individual, and I'm still embarrassed as a taxpayer in Oakland County that this is my representation of government. You know, I don't agree with some things that you guys do, but you need to have respect for everyone in this room on both sides, okay? And you make this charade of not being able to read names or mispronunciations. We have a very competent clerk here. We have great technology, and you can put names on the board, and you know when you're on the list. But we don't want to use that. You're going to mispronounce names and make it a joke. Not very professional, Mr. Chair. Not very professional at all. And your caucus should be embarrassed that they elected you. And it's very apparent that why Mr. Coulter ran again instead of yielding to let you run, because we know you wanted that position. And you would have had that position, but someone over here flipped, and they didn't give you the seat. You're not the county executive, and God thank you, because you'd be an embarrassment to this county. And I know you're not listening to what I'm saying, but hopefully it'll sink in a little bit, because you need to mature up just a little bit here. Last time I was here, you went through 5 recesses. Today, 2. Thank you, Sheriff, deputies, for your time. Thank you. I enjoyed the overtime. We appreciate your efforts. The maximum number of people in this room is 105. We've had some that left. You've caused with your recesses over 48 hours of lost family time collectively in this room. That falls on you because you don't have thick skin and you can't take criticism. Okay? You got to grow up. You represent all of us and you're not doing a very good job. Lastly, Mr. Moss, thank you for flushing these people out. Last meeting, they said it's not up to them to tell the health health director what to do. Then why not say, hey, maybe we should get rid of the mask? I don't care on the mask. What, do you want to wear a mask or don't wear a mask? That's up to you. That's up to your decision with you, your family, your kids, whatever, your doctor. But people should have a choice, and that's it. And you're denying people the choice, and I think that's all they want. And if you start listening to people and actually have some empathy, these meetings will run a lot smoother. A lot smoother. And it's not professional when people yell out. I don't think that's great either. I'm cringing in my seat when they do it. But that's how you run the meeting. And you don't demand the respect, they don't give it to you. So grow up, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Yeah. That's the last item on my list. Commissioner, is there anybody else who signed up since? Is that it? Just Marie? Okay. Marie, welcome.
Sorry, I'm just going to get my thing here. Okay. I spoke before about this last time. I'm a special education advocate, and there are over 23,000 special needs children in our county. The CDC kind of gives us some statistics here. 17% of children have developmental disabilities, 15% have hearing impairments, 10% have ADHD, 7.5% have anxiety, which that number is rising. I'm sure that's not even accurate anymore. 7% have asthma, 5% have speech disabilities. The CDC says people with disabilities, certain groups of people may find it difficult to wear a mask, including some children 2 years and older and people of any age that have certain disabilities. Appropriate and consistent use of masks may be challenging for some, including people with certain disabilities. Challenge may be caused by being sensitive to having material on the face, difficulty understanding why wearing masks is protective, such as those with an intellectual disability, or having difficulty controlling behavior. When determining if a child or person with a certain disability should wear a mask, you should assess their ability to wear a mask correctly, avoid frequent touching of the mask, limit sucking, drooling, or having excess saliva on the mask, and be able to remove the mask without assistance. For people that cannot wear a mask safely because of the disability defined by the ADA, consider reasonable accommodations. Masks should not be worn by a person with a disability who cannot wear a mask or cannot safely wear a mask or for reasons related to their disability. People who are deaf or hard of hearing and those who interact with people who are hearing impaired, if you interact with people who rely on reading lips, you may have difficulty communicating while wearing a mask. So with all of these children that are in our schools with IEPs and issues with medical conditions, disabilities, we're masking them because, there's this exemption rule, but the doctors won't write the notes, and the schools are not honoring the notes that are written. So what do we do? These children have protections under the IDEA, under Section 504, and under the ADA, and they're being violated, and it's criminal, it's disgusting. Basically, with the ADA, it says that you can not give the appropriate accommodation if the child or the person presents a direct threat. The exception for that is the exception. So basically, a direct threat is defined as a significant risk of substantial harm to the health and safety of others, which cannot be eliminated or reduced by a reasonable accommodation. And determination of that direct threat cannot be based on fear. Okay, so where is the direct threat for a child who doesn't have COVID, who can't wear a mask, and we're going to tell them that they have to wear one, but their disability doesn't let them, and they can't do that, and they can't learn? What are we doing? What are we doing for these kids? They're not learning. Do you know how many people call me and their doctors won't write a letter? Do you know how many people are begging for someone to help them? A news story of mine aired yesterday, Real America's Voice, about this going on in Michigan.
Please wrap up your comments.
Yeah, I'm going to wrap them up here when you guys do something about it.
Thank you, ma'am.
I'm sorry, but your time is up. You guys have a responsibility. These people have,
Thank you, ma'am.
ADA has been in for years. They've had to fight for their rights, and you guys are letting it go on.
Ma'am, you've been afforded the same amount as anybody else.
Your time is up, dude.
Thank you. All right, that concludes the second public comment. We stand adjourned until November 10th, our next meeting at 6 p.m. or a call of the chair. Thank you very much, everyone. Good night. Be safe.